has that acceleration.
World. Some from parts unknown. Even some from Illinois as the Fighting Illini visit the Nittany Lions. Halloween is upon us in Happy Valley, and the ghouls and goblins of State College will be wearing costumes of Penn State defensive monsters. So Illinois trick-or-treaters, beware. The Nittany Lions have woven a wicked web this season with one of the nation's scariest defenses as they've torn through offensive lines like bags of candy. And although this cat isn't black, you might want to stay clear of its path. Welcome to the Big Ten Game of the Week on ESPN Plus, presented by Advance Auto Parts. Today, from Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania, the Fighting Illini of Illinois meet the Penn State Nittany Lions. Hi, everybody. I'm Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright. Jim Barber will join us from the sidelines a little bit later on this afternoon. The Penn State Nittany Lions have one of the most improved defenses in the country, and it's the play of their defensive ends that have made the difference here.
Well, Wayne, Joe Paterno knew he needed to improve his defense this year. Courtney Brown played last year with a cast on his hand for most of the year. He's 100% now. Brad Scioli was moved from his tight end position to his more natural defensive end position, and he's been very good. Together, they've combined for over 13 of the team's 29 sacks.
And as we see right there, that's second in the NCAA Division I for sacks. Now, as far as Illinois is concerned, the Fighting Illini have been struggling. Just one touchdown in the last 3 games. Thus, they moved from a true freshman quarterback to a junior quarterback in Kirk Johnson.
Well, Ron Turner still believes Kurt Kittner is going to be a very good quarterback, but he's struggled lately, especially with his confidence. But whether it's Kittner or Johnson that plays quarterback, until somebody else on this offense steps up and starts making some plays, I don't think it makes any difference.
It is an idyllic fall afternoon in Happy Valley. Crisp and clear as we get set for Big Ten football. But before we begin, let's head to another perfect setting, Phillips 66 studio. And Mike...
All right, it's not very scary, but let me show you something that is very scary. How about the speed of the Penn State Nittany Lions? Beginning with the great Cordell Mitchell, who blasted one against Bowling Green a few games ago, 79 yards for a touchdown. He has electrifying speed, and so does the freshman, Eric McCoo. If you haven't seen Mr. McCoo back up Mitchell from time to time, you are in for a treat. 163 yards against the Boilermakers, 77 on one play. Do not be surprised if one of these guys, or both, bust loose early in the game. Let's get up to Wayne and Randy for the kickoff.
All right, thank you, Jim. We're never surprised, even by the weather. 53 degrees. This is an idyllic afternoon for college football. Sunny and crisp and cool. Penn State won the toss. Will defer to the second half, and Illinois to receive. Steve Havard, number 38 in your picture right there. Rocky Harvey is on the other side of Havard. Travis Forney, 24 of his 36 kickoffs have gone into the end zone. Harvey right on the sidelines, almost stepped out of play. Harvey breaks it. One man to beat. Travis Forney able to make the play. Rocky Harvey in daring fashion fielded that kickoff and returns it back to the 45 of Penn State, 53 yards.
Almost a near mistake as Harvey comes so close to that sideline. The official right there sees it inbounds and then tries to take it all the way back, sees the opening, in that explosion that he has, that acceleration, gets it all the way past midfield.
He put a few more gray hairs on the head of Ron Turner, his head coach. First down for Illinois. Kirk Johnson, safe pass to Steve Havard. David Macklin makes the stop. There is a penalty, marker down. A gain of 4 yards on that play. Get to the Advanced Auto Parts starting lineups in a moment. Let's see what the flag is here. Well, we'll give them to you right now. Steve Havard gets the start in the backfield. Jack Tights is the official we'll be hearing from. This one's going to wipe out that play.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
Advanced Auto Parts starting lineups. Let's take it from the top if we can. We showed you Steve Havard will get the start at running back. out of Wheaton, Illinois. We'll also see Rocky Harvey and Jameel Cook. At tight end, Brian Hodges. They're hoping to get the football to the tight end a little bit more in this offense. And the offensive tackles, Shaw and Sullivan, have their work cut out for them here. 1st and 15. Quick call up the middle. Jameel make that Elmer Hickman, who comes off his best rushing day of the season. Picks up decent yardage back inside Penn State territory. James Boyd made the stop. 12-yard gain. On defense, Courtney Brown and company have elevated this unit up front. Scioli and Brown the keys. Mac Morrison does all the blue-collar work in the linebacking core. The other two are thoroughbreds. And David Macklin is one of the best cornerbacks in college football. 2nd down for Illinois. About 3 yards to go, just outside the 38-yard line of Penn State. Johnson, loss of 2, back to the 48-yard line. Randy Wright, the Phillips 66, keys to the game.
Well, for Illinois defensively, they want to eliminate Penn State's big plays. And when they're on offense, they need to block Courtney Brown and Brad Scioli. For Penn State, they want to control the line of scrimmage offensively. They want to be able to run the ball, and they also need a wide receiver to emerge. With Joe Nastasi being hurt, they need somebody to step up.
On 3rd down and 5, Illinois 28% on 3rd down offense from the shotgun, Brad Johnson. Penalty markers down, a procedure coming up on Illinois, I believe. It has been penalties and turnovers that have frustrated Ron Turner's offensive unit this season. Sometimes the mistakes of youth.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
When you would hope with a big kickoff return to open this game that it would give this offense that has struggled so much a little boost, especially with Kirk Johnson starting for the first time today. But as we've seen, a couple of the penalties, Ron Turner's been plagued with those, especially offensively all season, has moved their team back, and now it's put them in a 3rd and long.
3rd down, about 10. Johnson under heat. Down under the cover of Mac Morrison, the linebacker, his 3rd sack of the season.
The pressure just comes from all over, and you see Johnson has a quick look to his left, but Morrison comes through there. Fleischhauer comes through there. He's got no time to look downfield, and when you can put pressure on a quarterback with just your front 4 and 1 linebacker, you give your defensive backs a lot of help.
Steve Fitz punt, good leverage into it, and a fair catch by Bruce Branch. The Penn State offense will take the field for the first time this afternoon when we return to Beaver Stadium.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 64. Tom, head of PDQ.
Hey, groovy guy, I'm looking for a exhaust gas recirculation valve for my 76 Cordova.
If you need hard-to-find parts, it doesn't matter what model or even what decade your car is from. With PDQ, you'll usually get the part overnight. Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Are rich people taller than the rest of us? Are their loved ones more deserving of an airbag? Was the sun created solely for their enjoyment? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick, full of amenities for under $20,000, loaded for under $24,000. Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
There are a whole lot of cereals that don't have a whole lot of whole grain. Of these leading cereals, only one is made with 100% whole grain, only Wheaties. So only Wheaties gives you 100% whole grain nutrition. Maybe that's why only Wheaties has Tiger Woods.
Whole grain makes the difference.
And 100% whole grain makes it Wheaties.
Par. Birdie, whoa, par. Must be a Golf Magazine subscriber. Call now for your free trial issue and learn how to shave 3, 4, or 5 strokes off your game. Add 20 yards to your tee shots. Improve your short game. Shoot lower and play the best golf of your life. Call now for your free trial issue of Golf Magazine. If you like it, get 11 more issues, 12 in all for just $19.97. Plus, get this terrific Golf Magazine windbreaker free with your paid subscription.
Call 1-800-764-2772 now.
Joe Paterno in his 33rd season as head coach at Penn State. 49 years on the staff. Boy, he's going to have quite a pension, isn't he?
If he ever retires. He may never retire.
Here we go. First down for Penn State. Football to the Nittany Lion 11-yard line. Ceramelli, the man in motion. Mitchell meets a wall, led by Garrett Johnson up front in the middle of the Illini defensive line. Robert Franklin was also there. Let's take a look at the Advanced Auto Parts starting offensive unit for Penn State. Quarterback Kevin Thompson much improved the last couple of weeks. Wide receiver Shafi Fields. They want their receivers to make the quarterbacks look good. In other words, make plays. And the offensive tackle Floyd Wedderburn, well, Joe Paterno told us yesterday he may be one of the best offensive tackles he's ever had here at Penn State. And that covers a long time. 2nd and 10. Aaron Harris to the outside, out to the 16-yard line. Illinois defensively, Garrett Johnson made the first tackle from scrimmage for the Illini defense here today. Robert Franklin has filled in very well in the middle, second leading tackler. And on the corner, Asim Plez sees more traffic than the Kennedy Expressway in Chicago during rush hour. But he does lead this team with 3 interceptions.
He's played very well, as you said. He gets a lot of balls thrown at him, but he's responded very well for the Illini.
3rd down and about 5. Concho Brown was wide open, and the quarterback, Kevin Thompson, overshot him. He had some pressure coming from Franklin, the linebacker.
Looked like a miscommunication, Wayne, because Concho Brown, as you said, was wide open, and he just stopped right as Kevin Thompson was throwing the ball. If he'd kept running, looked like Thompson would have hit him perfectly in stride.
Pat Pigeon Jr. from Mayfield, Pennsylvania. Having a pretty fine season, as you can see. Penalty marker down. And this one backs up on the Nittany Lions. Ascari Adams makes the down at the 48-yard line of Illinois. There is a flag down. 36-yard punt.
It's kind of flag. Usually there's not enough men on the line of scrimmage or someone's offsides.
Offsides, Illinois.
They lined up offsides, and with 4th and 5, it's going to be very close. May not be exactly 5 yards, be very close to what could be a first down for Penn State.
Oh, and it's those kinds of mistakes that have made this a very long season for Ron Turner. And they would stand to get this football out of the Illinois 48-yard line the way that punt backed up, but as it is, Penn State will get another opportunity.
It's still going to be short, apparently, of the first down. But as you said, Penn State's going to get another opportunity to kick the ball and back the Illini further up.
So Pigeon, who had a punt blocked and recovered for a touchdown at Ohio State, the only block in 102 career punt attempts. Back deep once again to punt it away. Rob Majoy in single safety. Kind of a line drive kick. Another flag down. Majoy is erased by LeVar Arrington. 38-yard punt, no return, and again another flag down near the line of scrimmage. Offsides, Illinois. It'll be a first down, Penn State.
Boy, just totally unacceptable. These kind of mental mistakes when you're lining up offsides on special teams just destroy your team. Especially a team with such little margin for error as Ron Turner's Illini have this year.
Well, we were talking to Ron last night, and you mentioned to him, can you afford to make mistakes? And he said, no, we have no margin for error. So Illinois allows a first down with consecutive offsides penalties on punts.
This is such an explosive Penn State offense. They are capable of the big play. You don't want to give them any more opportunities than you have to.
From the 26, Ceramelli again in motion. Play action, this is Thompson. Ceramelli makes the catch, breaks one tackle, and then down he goes. Mike Gusick got there initially. Yardage out to the 33-yard line. Gain of about 7. Michael Young put him away.
Well, Mike Caramelli is what every coach would like to have in a player. He just wanted to come to Penn State and play football. And talking to Fran Ganner, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, his eyes just lit up in talking about Caramelli. The only thing he wanted his whole life is run through this tunnel wearing a Penn State uniform.
He's not only had the chance to do that, but he's starting in the offensive backfield. Second and relatively short, 2nd and 3. Mitchell. And the Illini respond. Jackson on the flank and Mohamed Abdullah on the corner of the defense. Let's get onto the field. Jim Barber.
Guys, you've already talked about Illinois eliminating penalties. They also have to stay away from Penn State big plays because the Nittany Lions have had a ton of them this season. I saw a couple in person in Joe Paterno's 300th win against Bowling Green. If Penn State keeps up those numbers and improves upon them today, Illinois will be in for a long afternoon.
It is 3rd and 1. Against Caramelli in motion. Mitchell's got the first down on a straight-ahead plunge. Nothing fancy there. Went right over the defensive tackle, Garrett Johnson. Eberhardt made the stop.
Penn State starting to run the ball. That's how they wanted to start the game, to open up some of their play-action passing that they want to get into as this game moves along. As we said in the open, and as the keys to the game, they need some wide receivers to step up. They're not playing poorly, but nobody's really emerged.
First down, Penn State from the Nittany Lion 37-yard line. Blitz coming. Thompson off the hands of Bruce Branch, who was open behind the coverage of Mohamed Abdullah near the 40-yard line of Illinois.
Wayne, this is a good example of a receiver that needs to make the catch that's a little bit above and beyond. Nice play action. Good job by Thompson pulling up right here. And you see Branch wide open. It's not a perfect pass, but those are the kind of passes that receivers need to make in order, as you said earlier, to make their quarterback look good.
2nd down and 10. Play action, Thompson again. This time, Corey Jones makes the catch close to the first down near the 47-yard line. Tony Francis came up to make the stop.
Well, one thing that all of these wide receivers from Penn State have is excellent speed. These Illini cornerbacks are going to give them a little room. The cushion's going to be underneath, and when you can throw that kind of pass on time, it should be open most of the day.
3rd down and short coming up for Penn State. Offensively, the Nittany Lions somewhat disappointing, about 31.5% on their 3rd down offense. They've had 2 third and short situations here today already on this drive. Mitchell, nice cutback. Mike Gusick stopped what would have been a much bigger gain, but nonetheless enough for the first down, gain of 7 to the Illini 46.
You take a look at the fullback here. That's going to give him an excellent block. Caramelli leads through the hole. Nice block on middle linebacker Franklin. Clears the way for Mitchell to pick up the first down.
Caramelli 5'10", well compacted, 235 pounds of that 5'10" frame. You can see it right there.
He's a perfect fullback for the I-back offense.
Shafi Fields in motion on first down. Mitchell down to the 44-yard line, gain of 3 to Studio 66. Mike?
Well, Wayne, West Virginia and Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer's Hokies have been known to do this a few times, blocking punts. They get another one this afternoon. Ricky Hall scoops it up, and he has gone into the end zone for the first touchdown of the afternoon. 7:45 to go in the first. It's 7-0 Hokies over the Mountaineers. Wayne?
Well, Mike, that's a big one in the Big East because neither can afford a second loss. They're chasing Syracuse at the moment. 2nd down here for Penn State. Still the initial drive of the game for the Penn State offense. Thompson cannot escape. Garrett Johnson, who makes the sack, back inside Nittany Lion territory at the 46-yard line.
Garrett Johnson just fights through his block. Take a look. This is kind of what the quarterback sees back here. Looking downfield, he sees that white jersey appear, and there's nowhere to go. And Johnson does a nice job of wrapping him up and not letting him get away.
Loss of 10 yards on the play. There is Tim Kish, the defensive coordinator of Illinois. His team very strong against the run, with the exception of last week where Purdue got them spread out in a nickel defense almost the entire game. And the Boilermakers surprisingly ran for 217 yards in that game. 3rd and long for Penn State. Thompson going over the top. He's got Shuffy. Field diving grab. First down, goal to go. 7-yard line of Illinois.
We talked about the outstanding speed that all of these Penn State receivers have. And here, Fields takes off, and watch him just run right by the cornerback here. Just takes him, plants him, goes right by Johnny Rogers, the backup, and now he lays out and makes a nice catch. Those are the kind of gray area balls that these receivers have been dropping. This time he holds on to it.
47-yard pass play. And now the Nittany Lions at the doorstep with first and goal. Mitchell inside the 5 to the 3-yard line on a gain of about 4 yards.
Danny Clark does a nice job of coming from his linebacker position, penetrating through the line of scrimmage, and almost gets Mitchell in the backfield. Just misses. But when you're going to gamble down there, especially with your linebackers, you got to make sure you get them in the backfield.
25 possessions in just 6 games. This is the 26th for Penn State.
And no turnovers when they get inside the 20.
Mitchell, first man through is Bobby Jackson. Jackson played big. We saw him against Ohio State with 10 total tackles and 5 solos in that game. Jackson slowed him up. Jeff Weiss put him away.
Well, Jackson is their best hitter coming out of the secondary. He's a strong safety, not real big, only 205 pounds, but he plays more like a linebacker.
This is the 15th play coming up in this drive. Remember, it didn't have to get this far, Randy. 2 offsides penalties on Illinois in consecutive punt formation situations allowed Penn State to continue this drive. 3rd down and goal to go just outside the 2. Watkins in motion. Aaron Harris, touchdown. Aaron Harris, the junior out of Exton, Pennsylvania, his 4th touchdown of the season. He's coming back from ACL surgery last year. Not 100%, but around the goal line, Randy, he's been tough to stop.
And you've got to have a good lead blocker if you're going to run on the goal line. Saramelli, 36, does a nice job of leading that in there, and Harris just ducks those shoulders. And you're right, Wayne, he's coming from the injury. He's not 100%, and the thing he's lost more than anything is that burst of speed, that acceleration. He hasn't shown that yet. When you've only got 2 or 3 yards to go, doesn't come into play.
Travis Forney, and it's good. Aaron Harris making the long climb back to a prominent role in the Penn State offense. Covers the last 2 yards of the first Penn State drive of the day.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 42. Jesse from Quality Control. Jesse travels the country. He spans the globe in search of the best quality parts for your car. Factory visits.
Alle Teile übertreffen die Spezifikationen des Herstellers.
Wunderbar. Product inspections on over 250,000 different parts and accessories.
Thank you.
No problem. Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
At last. Oh, this will never do. Whoa.
Introducing the first luxury SUV that doesn't ride like a truck. The RX 300, like no other vehicle or value on Earth.
Well, hello there.
At Roy Lexus.
Anytime, any day, anything. The Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. It's life, listed alphabetically.
Aaron Harris capped at 89-yard, 15-play drive for Penn State. Again, that drive prolonged by a couple of Illinois penalties on 4th down.
Both the penalties on the special teams, not the defense that was on the field. And then right after Jim Barber talked about not allowing the big play, Fields catch a long one down to the 4 or 5 yard line.
Nittany Lions 4 of 5 on 3rd downs during that drive. Rocky Harvey. This time short of the 20-yard line. To Studio 66, Mike Gleason, what's happening up at the Dome at Syracuse?
Well, Wayne, talk about a spooky Halloween for Syracuse. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh at this juncture. Matt O'Connor, his first college start, 28 yards. And Terry Murphy, look at this, Syracuse down to Pittsburgh, 9-0, 8 minutes to go in the first. Wayne?
You know, October's been a spooky month in the Big East. There have been upsets all galore, and Syracuse trying to avoid the upset trend in the Big East in the month of October. I don't know if they're going to escape or not. And there's a lot of time left in that one. As is the case here, lots of time to go. Tailback gets the call, and short yardage out to the 21-yard line. First quarter scoring has been a problem for Illinois.
Well, they've only scored 10, but Penn State only allowing 3 points in the entire first quarter, and that came off of a turnover, which Purdue turned into a field goal, not a touchdown, deep in Penn State territory.
Illinois had trouble in the first half in general, but you're right, especially in the first quarter. Second down, about 7. Whitman, the tight end, in motion. Steve Havard has a hole to run through and fights his way out across the 25, just short of the first down, near the 27. Derek Fox, who had 4 uncles that went to Ohio State.
He probably appreciates you mentioning that, too, these days.
Including Tim Fox, who played prominently in the NFL. I believe you played against Tim Fox over the course of your career.
Yes, I did. I didn't realize that was one of his relations.
Derek said, there's no way I'm going to Ohio State. I want to distinguish myself.
Well, Joe Paterno is happy he's at Penn State.
Hickman has the first down to the 29-yard line. Elmer Hickman, the fullback. Brandon Short makes the stop. Hickman, a junior from Alton, Illinois, seeing a little more action carrying the football recently. And as I mentioned, against Purdue, 37 yards on 3 carries, including a 24-yard run last week.
He's the fullback that will get the ball more. Chris Hoffman never played offense until this year. He's the blocking fullback. Hickman, injured earlier, has gotten healthy now and has given them a little extra boost from that position.
We expect that Illinois will try to run right at Penn State rather than around the Nittany Lions, who have great athletic ability on the front of their line. Johnson to the sideline, and the pass overthrown out of bounds. Lenny Willis, the intended receiver, well covered by Anthony King. Mike Gleason, what do you have for us?
Well, Georgia Tech and Maryland are GTE. A cut in and goes the distance. Wayne, Maryland just returned an INT for a touchdown, but check out Des White. Gets it at the goal line, cuts back, and he goes the distance, 100 yards for the touchdown. And that is the equalizer. Boy, he was running scared, huh? 7-7, Georgia Tech and Maryland, 8:16 to go in the first.
Georgia Tech, despite the loss at Florida, is in the mix atop the ACC. So obviously every game important
on
for
the
them.
offense, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
How many penalties is that on Illinois already? My goodness, 5 penalties already. Not even out of the first quarter.
That looked like a late flag. It didn't go down right as the ball is snapped, which is generally when you'll see that. But there you see the 5 penalties, and the 2 most costly on the special teams plays.
First down and 15. Johnson, another touch pass over the top. Larry Davis makes the catch as David Macklin fell down, and Davis tackled at the 41-yard line of Penn State. Scary Adams recovered to make the stop. 34-yard pass play.
Boy, Larry Davis is really covered fairly well down here at the corner of your screen. He's going to come out, and he's just going to go right by Macklin, but Macklin does really a pretty decent job of running with him. He's in excellent position. But Davis looks back and sees the ball, makes a little adjustment, and as Macklin falls down, it's an easy catch for Davis.
Under 3.5 minutes to go now. Johnson, that's a broken play. There is no option in the Illinois offense that I know of. LeVar Arrington made the stop along with, of course, Mac Morrison, ever present in the mix.
Well, it may not be in the playbook coming in. You take a look at Arrington, number 11, trying to chase this down, and it looks like a designed play, but it may be thrown out of the playbook after this play.
I thought when I saw him stumbling there, I said, wait a minute, this isn't in the playbook, is it? But I guess it is for this game.
Well, it may be a little twist that they put in here to try and take advantage of some of the things they saw on film.
McDonald Ashford at the top of your screen. Second down at about 12. Elmer Hickman for about 4 yards to the 38-yard line of Penn State. Boy, you can open a hole initially against this defensive front, Randy, but it closes in a hurry. And Brad Schioldi, the principal defender on that play, gain of 4.
And unless your running backs run with confidence and get to that hole 100%, it's going to close very quickly. Sometimes you play against a defense like this, you're not sure if the hole is going to be there, so you don't hit it with quite the burst you need to, and then it closes very quickly.
Illinois 3rd and long. It's been a long shot. Out of the shotgun, Johnson rolling. Had to throw it before he really wanted to because he was getting pressured by Courtney Brown. Brandon Short also in the offensive backfield, and it's 4th down for Illinois.
Boy, this pressure comes from everywhere. The top of your screen, number 11, Arrington comes through. Havard does a nice job of blocking him, but then Courtney Brown just beats his man, and you can see Brandon Short, 43. He comes from his linebacker position, so when you bring them all to complement Schioldi and Brown, you're in for a long day at quarterback.
Fitz has put 7 down inside the 20 with 3 touchbacks. And this one hits the goal line and in. So Penn State will get it out of the 20-yard line. Final minutes in this first quarter. Nittany Lions lead by touchdown.
As a lad growing up in the Outback, golf legend Nigel Bridges showed little aptitude for sports. He wasn't very good at rugby or cricket, or so it seemed, at golf. But he tried and he tried and he tried and he tried and he tried. Until he got it right. You'll find the same dedication and commitment to perfection at Outback Steakhouse, where a great steak dinner is always just a short drive away. Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right.
Good shot!
Only a handful of people have climbed Everest without supplemental oxygen. You can be one of them. See Everest in its final days in the Omnimax Theater at Carnegie Science Center.
Smear tactics, slimy, repugnant, unjustifiable, attack dog. These are all things area newspapers have said about Mike Turzai and his campaign of lies and distortions against Ron Klink. The truth is, Ron Klink has lowered taxes on the middle class and voted against pay raises. Turzai, helicopters spying on opponents, camera crews hiding in dark alleys, dirty tricks and false charges. Mike Turzai. If you can't trust what he says, how can you trust him with education, Social Security, and Medicare?
If the altitude doesn't take your breath away, the cinematography will. See Everest in the Omnimax Theater at Carnegie Science Center before it leaves.
Nestled at the foot of Mount Nittany here in the Happy Valley, Penn State campus. This area affectionately known as Happy Valley, and this is a 97,000-seat stadium, Beaver Stadium. First down for the Nittany Lions. Thompson under pressure initially, able to escape and gets it away. He's got a man out there, and Shoffey Fields makes another big play. Bobby Jackson had the coverage. 54-yard play. Thompson got away from Danny Clark, the blitzing linebacker, and then that play opened up.
Take a look at Fields right here at the top of your screen. Same play earlier, just runs right by. This time it's a seam Plez. Looks like he's pretty well covered, but just blows right by Plez. And Thompson does a nice job of putting a lot of air into the ball, so it doesn't have to be perfectly thrown, but Fields can adjust to it.
Boy, the speed factor coming to the fore in the wide receiving core for Penn State in the person of Shoffey Fields. McCoo, the freshman, hit in the offensive backfield that time. Fred Wakefield got a piece of him. Gain of a yard. McCoo, true freshman out of Red Bank, New Jersey. Second leading rusher. I tell you what, talk about big plays. This team can do it in a hurry. And that's why 27 of their scoring drives have taken less than 2.5 minutes. Second down, Penn State. Puncho Brown to the 21-yard line of Illinois in traffic. Danny Clark was there, along with Mike Gussick.
When you talk about their big playability and their scoring drives being only 2 minutes and 29 seconds, not only have they had, as we heard earlier, over 23 plays coming into today of 20 yards or more, but their defense has created 15 turnovers, so that shortened the field, so their offense has had less to go.
Corey Jones, the wide receiver to the top of your screen. Brian Brzezinski in the slot. This is McCoo. He'll have to make it on his own. And very close to the first down as he made Danny Clark miss before Garrett Johnson brought him down as time winds down in this first period of play. And they're going to be just short of the first down, so it'll be 4th down and about a yard to go coming up. Well, it's been defense carrying the 4 for Penn State here today. Illinois responded as well, but right now the Lions lead by 7.
The Land Rover Discovery. Often imitated, never duplicated. And here's something else to think about. The Discovery has been ranked the most appealing compact sport utility vehicle in the J.D. Power and Associates Appeal Study. An appealing thought, if we do say so ourselves.
The lightweight aluminum in your car radiator is the only thing between you and a breakdown. Put in Prestone. It bonds with aluminum to give you a powerful zone of protection against corrosion. Protect your car in the Prestone zone.
When sports cream? When legs are sore. When backs ache. When muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Rubbing it in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell. Why sports cream? Because it works.
The 1999 Lexus ES300 with the new, more powerful VVTi V6 engine. Luxury and value are right at home in the fast lane. Test drive an ES300 today at Rory Lexus.
At St. Francis Health System in Cranberry, we've been healing body, mind, and spirit through our quality outpatient medical center since 1984. You've come to know us for our emergency X-ray and lab work, heart care program, same-day surgery, cancer center, rehab, and primary care physicians. Now, we've expanded this care to include something new for Western Pennsylvania, a quality full-service hospital. St. Francis Hospital, Cranberry, the healthy choice.
7-0 Penn State. Joe Paterno and company have time to think about it between quarters. They're going to go for it on 4th and 1 rather than kick a field goal. Football near the Illinois 18-yard line. The power backfield of Harris and Caramelli. That's Fields in motion. Aaron Harris stacked up close to the first down. Harris may not have the burst in the open field he once had, but he is still a pile driver of a running back. I think the Illini responded pretty well in the middle. Let's take a look at it, Randy.
You take a look. This guy right here is going to come in motion across, and what he's going to do is going to seal off right there so that Illinois can't come in from the outside and make that hit. You block off the outside, and then you let your offensive lineman get a push.
They are real close to that first down. And by the length of the football, they've got a first down.
Well, Joe Paterno had his special teams unit, the field goal unit, during the quarter break on the field, making Ron Turner think we're going to kick it. Then as soon as the clock started running, he ran his first team offense back out there again, didn't give Illinois much of a chance to make a call.
You mean he tried to fool Ron Turner?
I think he did fool Ron Turner.
First down. Aaron Harris, good play. Bobby Jackson once again. I'll tell you what, he supports on the run pretty well for a little safety. Back to Mike Gleason. What's cooking with Michigan, Mike?
Well, Wayne, Kevin Thompson isn't the only one dialing long distance. Michigan down 3-0. Tom Brady drops back right down the middle. This is Ty Streets. This one goes 76 yards, and that's his 7th touchdown, 8th for Brady. And right now, Michigan on top of the Golden Gophers, 7-3, 1:14 to go. Quarter number 1, Wayne.
Michigan on a 5-game winning streak after opening loss at Notre Dame and a home loss to Syracuse to start the season. Second down. Kevin Thompson, lots of time. Shafi Fields in the end zone. Penalty marker down. Fields was taken down by the safety, Mike Gussick. And they get the flag.
Mike Gussick back for Illinois after being hurt earlier in the year.
Pass interference, Illinois.
Look at the excellent protection that Kevin Thompson gets in the backfield. Nobody near him. Throws a nice pass, and right there, Gussick just gets his feet tangled up with Fields. Causes him to fall down, and the officials' opinion, see the feet get tangled up. Fields falls down. There you see the flag come in for interference.
First down from the 2-yard line. Ron Turner's defense is trying to hang in there. They're trailing 7-0 and now are really backed up against it. First and goal from the 2. Crenshaw in motion for Penn State. McCoo for the touchdown. Eric McCoo with his first rushing touchdown in his Penn State career.
Nice job. This is a very patented sweep play that Penn State runs maybe as well as anybody. The offensive line collapses. The lead blockers are out there. You see number 60, Ryan Fagan, with a key block, and McCoo just walks into the end zone. And again, the big plays coming through the passing game for Penn State, not the running game. Illinois pretty good against the run, but very weak so far against the pass.
Travis Forney makes the extra point. Penn State leads it 14-0. Eric McCoo, the true freshman, caps an 80-yard, 7-play drive.
It's a place of quiet dignity, where tradition is respected and tastefully observed. And now, during Buick's Fall Collection event, Park Avenue is even more rewarding. Never has your move to Park Avenue been so inviting. Park Avenue by Buick.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 6, Ed from Purchasing. At an early age, Ed gained an appreciation for low prices.
Yes, Edward. If you buy a whole lot of stuff, you can sell it for a whole lot less.
Good, Edward. Good.
High volume buying is how Ed keeps prices low for you.
No, that's zillion with a Z, not trillion with a T.
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Hi, Chuck. How's business?
Okay.
Hey, what's on your screen?
QuickBooks accounting software from the makers of Quicken.
Yeah, I really don't have time to learn new software.
If you can write a check, you can use QuickBooks. Answer a few questions and it tailors itself to your business. Create invoices like these. It has accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, and inventory, and over 60 customizable reports that put you in control.
I'm going to try it.
Nothing to lose.
1-888-210-9600.
Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Welcome back to Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania. Steve Avard back deep to receive this kick from Travis Forney. Rocky Harvey fields it on the near side. He was going laterally, and you don't do that very successfully against this quick Penn State team, and Harvey brought down short of the 15-yard line. Take a look at the first quarter stats. Now, Fran Ganter, the offensive coordinator of Penn State, mentioned to us that they would have to loosen up Illinois, that Illinois would load up the box against the run. They'd have to loosen them up through the air. I'd say they've loosened quite a bit.
Well, very successfully. Not only have they tried to loosen them up by attempting the passes, they've been successful. 124 yards passing, and their go-to guy so far, Shafi Fields.
Illinois trying to get something going offensively with Kirk Johnson at quarterback. Terrence Smalls in motion. The fullback, Elmer Hickman, driving across the 15 to a 16, maybe the 17-yard line. Mike Gleason, what's going on with Michigan State?
Well, Wayne, Michigan State playing their 400th game in Spartan Stadium. Last week, you called it. Gary Scott dropped a touchdown pass. This time, hauls it in, goes 17 yards, setting up a 2-yard touchdown run by Cedric Irvin. Michigan State 7-0 over Northwestern. And look at this, guys. Minnesota has just recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown. They lead Michigan 10-7.
Trick or treat, Mike. It's that time of year. Second down, Illinois. Again, Smalls in motion. Johnson, quick swing pass, dropped by Elmer Hickman. That's the catch he's got to make. And it'll be third down.
Boy, you saw Brad Scioli, number 5, coming from his defensive end position. A nice play-action fake drew him to the inside, and Elmer Hickman was wide open. He's going to be coming right in the middle of your screen. Nice block right there to get him down, and a nice pass. And Hickman, who is the better of the ball-handling fullbacks, just takes his eyes off of that one and should have had that catch.
1 for 3 today for Illinois. They've got third and about 6. And they come up running and are not going to get it. Penn State, whether they were fooled or not defensively, has the kind of speed to recover, and that's what happened here. Fleischauer and Boyd collaborate on the stop. Brad Scioli heading off. Joe Paterno's got to be happy with his team's efficient defensive effort thus far. Another punt for Illinois. Penalty markers are down before the play got underway.
I think the Illini offensive right side of their line jumped, but it looked as though Penn State may have jumped earlier and caused that action to happen.
Penn State, the guilty party, you're right.
They're going to call that on Penn State for getting into the neutral zone, and you could hear some of the voices saying that he was rocking the ball, the center's rocking the ball, and drawing them off sides.
Prior to the snap, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know who used to do that real well? Jay Hilgenberg, the all-pro center of the Chicago Bears, used to rock that football, move it just a little bit.
You mean those offensive linemen do something illegal against the rules?
They're crafty little guys. That is, well, not so little guys, I should say. Well, now you're looking at a first down.
Well, the special teams blunder there, this time against Penn State, gives the Illini another chance offensively, and they need this to give their defense a rest. It's been on the field a lot so far.
Opening 3 minutes, second quarter. Hickman hangs on to this pass and draws a crowd of the 25-yard line, gain of 2. Arrington and Mac Morrison collaborate on the stop. Arrington and Brandon Short in this linebacking core for Penn State are Butkus Award finalists, one of 10 finalists for the Butkus Award. Mac Morrison doesn't get a whole lot of publicity, although this week, thanks to Joe Poff, who sent some kind remarks his way, people have been noticing that Mac Morrison does a lot of the blue-collar work that allows these two players to make big plays.
Well, if these two guys are going to lead the team in tackles for loss and tackles, Mac Morrison is an awfully good third best.
Kirk Johnson brought down from behind. Pickup of about 3 yards on the play. Courtney Brown and Maurice Daniels collaborate.
No, Wayne, this is something that Ron Turner has said his team really lacks, is all of his quarterbacks are the same kind of quarterbacks. They're your drop back passer, they're not your scrambler. And when you have a struggling offense, it really helps to have a quarterback like Randall L. down at Indiana, or even Billy Cockrum at Minnesota that can run around and make some things happen. None of his quarterbacks have that capability, so they need to rely so much more on the players around them to make the plays.
Well, it's third down. About 6. Johnson rolls away from the pressure and into some more pressure as Maurice Daniels comes up to make the hit.
It initially looked as though Johnson was going to have plenty of time to throw the ball. He got a nice block from his fullback right there, Hickman, on Scioli, and Johnson sees Daniels coming right up in front of him. But instead of throwing it away or making a valiant effort to avoid that sack, just kind of takes the hit.
Steve Fitz on in punt formation. End over end line drive kick. takes an Illinois hop inside the 40-yard line. Penn State will start near its 37 when we resume. 39-yard punt, no return. Penn State on the lead.
Accept it. The college football game you want to see isn't on where you live, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or is there? Imagine a place where the games you want to see are on every Saturday. A place where you can see up to 100 college matchups this season. Just order ESPN Game Plan, ESPN's pay-per-view college football package, and we'll bring you more of the best games from top schools and conferences. And all in your own backyard. ESPN Game Plan. To order, call DirecTV, Prime Star, Dish Network, or your cable company.
Only a handful of people have climbed Everest without supplemental oxygen. You can be one of them. See Everest in its final days in the OmniMax Theater at Carnegie Science Center.
It's only fitting that a town that makes steel has a congressman as tough as the people he represents. And when it comes to fighting for jobs, no one fights harder than Ron Klink. He's fought against unfair trade and against Fast Track and NAFTA that send American jobs to cheap labor overseas. He's fought to make sure workers earn a decent wage, to protect pensions, and for more job training. Congressman Ron Klink, he knows his job is to fight for jobs for Western Pennsylvanians. Ron Klink, a hardworking congressman for hardworking people.
If the altitude doesn't take your breath away, the cinematography will. See Everest in the OmniMax Theater at Carnegie Science Center before it leaves.
One of the most recognizable landmarks in State College, the Nittany Lions Shrine, was created by Heinz Wernicke from a 13-ton block of Indiana limestone. The statue presented as a gift to the university by the class of 1940, and people from all over the country stand in line to get their picture taken here. Advanced Auto Parts is proud to present Big Ten football. Today, we're at State College, Pennsylvania. Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber on the sidelines. Penn State leading 14-0, takes over first down to the Nittany Lion 37, and this is the freshman Eric McCoo to the outside. Not only is he fast, he's a tough runner. Plays off one would-be tackle attempt and gets about 5 yards out across the 40-yard line. To Studio 66, Mike Gleason.
Well, Wayne, there has to be a poltergeist involved in this play. Look at that. Vincent just bobbles the snap. It was a good snap. And the Gophers are on it in the end zone. And that's how the Gophers have taken a 10-7 lead over the Michigan Wolverines. Wayne?
Yeah, that is kind of eerie if you're a Michigan fan. Second down now for Penn State. Kevin Thompson. The gamble made by Francis. He almost picked it away, but in fact he must have screened Corey Jones on the far side looking back into the sun. State College, Pennsylvania, Beaver Stadium. Number 10, Penn State leading Illinois. I'm Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright alongside, Jim Barber on the sidelines.
When one thing you won't see from this Illinois defense is a lot of blitzing. They feel that they don't even get to the quarterback when they bring 5 or 6 guys. They'd rather just rush their 4, keep their linebackers back in pass coverage.
Third down and about 6. Thompson, 6 of 9 passing. To McCoo, trying to follow his blocking, and he is short of the first down. Did well to get back to the line of scrimmage. Jeff Weiss helped to blow up that play on the line for Illinois.
Boy, Weiss did a nice job of just holding his ground. Even though he didn't get involved with the tackle, he didn't get pushed around. He stayed there, and it really bothered McCoo. McCoo didn't have any way to go except over him, and there wasn't any success in that.
Normally sure-handed Rob Majoy moving back deep to receive this punt from Pat Pigeon. Majoy chases it back near the 15 and faked everybody out, including me. Let it go. It took a Penn State bounce, and Ascari Adams was there to recover at the Illinois 2-yard line.
Have you been there? Where water and time find their canvas? Where dreams and flowers bloom? Where beyond each horizon lies another? The land offers an open, eternal invitation to roam, explore, wonder. There are amazing things here and there, which is why we try, in little ways, to protect it. Just something to think about the next time you need fuel.
In the world of tools, there's only one true craftsman. Craftsman makes anything possible.
Oh, yeah. Ah, the possibilities Dodge Caravan opens up. It's a cabin in the woods, complete with heated power recliners. It's your own private ski lodge, or your workshop for building one. It's your place in the sun, complete with guest room and breezeway. Dodge Caravan, the world's most popular home away from home. Now get up to $1,000 cash allowance on Dodge Caravan.
Today's Big Ten game is brought to you by GTE, official telecommunications consultant of the NCAA and a Big Ten corporate partner. Illinois starts this drive at its 2-yard line. Elmer Hickman may have made the 3-yard line. Talk about field position. First possession at the Penn State 45. The next 3 possessions have averaged the Illinois 11-yard line. This one much worse than that, starting back at the 2.
Well, this is where the offensive line for Illinois, probably the strength of their offense, really needs to take over. They've got a senior group up there, especially the 2 Shao twins and J.P. Machado. They need to take over and get this first down.
Again, they go with Hickman. He slants it off tackle and gets out to the 5-yard line. Now it's 3rd down and 7 yards to go. LeVar Arrington of the linebacking core makes the stop, along with Brad Scioli, the defensive end. As we mentioned before, Scioli, a tight end last year.
Well, he has played so many different positions. He was a defensive end in 94, defensive tackle in 95, injured in 96. Moved over and played tight end in 97, and now is back to his natural position of defensive end. And Wayne, he's the last player off the 94 unbeaten Rose Bowl team for Penn State.
3rd down for Illinois. Play action, Arrington in his face. Hickman pops open. Unable to get away for the first down. Excellent play made by Bao Ju. Cut the legs out from under him. There is a flag down in the offensive backfield.
Wayne, this may be on Arrington for roughing Kirk Johnson after Johnson threw the ball.
And that's the case. Personal foul against Penn State.
A foul on the defense. First down.
So take a look at it again.
Well, you see Hickman 32 and Havard trying to pick him up, and you see Arrington come through and grabs him up into the head area and roughs him in the referee's opinion. Take a look, here's a better angle. Arrington reaches up, grabs him by the head. Johnson did a nice job even getting rid of that ball.
Off the penalty, first down for Illinois at the 24-yard line of the Illini. Lenny Willis in motion. Steve Havard with the biggest hole of the day for Illinois, and a pickup of 7 out to the 31-yard line to Mike Gleason.
Well, Wayne, the Halloween Spirits are having a great time this afternoon. Georgia Tech, a lot at stake for Georgia Tech. But Maryland's Randall Jones takes it far sidelines, cuts back. He's in for the touchdown. And look at this, guys, 14-7 Terrapins over the Yellow Jackets, 10:42 to go before the half. Wayne?
Georgia Tech came in 24th ranked team in the nation, 5-2 record. They've got their work cut out for them, and so do these Illini from Illinois. 2nd down coming up here. And Havard fighting his way to a first down. And once again, we talked with Ron Turner last night, Randy, and what we asked him about was the running game. And the fact is that you have mentioned it earlier today. They're going to try to run behind the most experienced and maybe the most efficient aspect of the Illinois offense, and that is the offensive line. And they're going to have to run right at Penn State because they can't outrun them to the flank.
And not many teams can outrun the speed of this Penn State defense, but as you said, the left side of that line is what they have the most confidence in. All 5 of these offensive linemen have started every game this year for the Illini. It's been one part that has had some consistency to it.
Havard got almost 10 yards on that, gain of 9 to the 45-yard line. Brandon Short made the stop.
This is a play where Havard can kind of just pick his hole. He's going to be able to see right in here, and you're going to see the linemen try and do some blocking, and they hand the ball off to Havard deep, and let him pick the hole. There's the hole to the outside. Could have gone back to the inside, but 67, Machado comes over, makes a nice block, and Avard follows him right up.
Avard 5 carries, 30 yards. Blitz. Hickman gets the call. And now Penn State starting to stack more and more bodies along the line, and not much room to run there. A gain of barely a yard, maybe 2.
Well, one thing Jerry Sandusky will do is an offense gets into a rhythm. He's going to do some things to change that up. They're going to stack the line this time here. Even though it's second and short, you're going to see Arrington come up there. You see number 18, Ascari Adams up there. They're going to try and put too many people up there for you to block. That time Hickman did a nice job, only needing a yard, of keeping his legs moving and giving this team a first down.
From the 48 of Illinois. Avard picks his way once again. The holes aren't gaping, but he is getting 4 or 5 yards at a crack, it seems like, and Brandon Short made the stop that time.
And Wayne, what he's doing is he's hitting that hole full speed. There's no hesitancy in his mind or in the backfield. He knows where the hole is supposed to be, and he's just hitting it full speed, trusting the hole's going to be there.
And Randy, it's a matter of he's just saying, hey, listen, this is how we're going to block it. Don't even look, just go.
And if the hole's not there, I'm not going to outrun these guys to the outside, so I'm better off with no gain rather than a loss if the hole's not there.
Avard starting to pick it up on the ground for Illinois, 2nd and 5. This time a slight hesitation, and the Nittany Lions had it well dissected. The guy who came up to blow that play up was Ascari Adams, the hero back. Strong safety under most defensive formations. 3rd down for Illinois now.
Well, you saw Ascari Adams come up there, but Arrington and Short, those guys are always around the ball.
10th play of the drive coming up for Illinois. This one began back at the 2-yard line of the Illini. It is a 3rd down. And about 6 yards to go. The football to the 49-yard line of Penn State. Blitz once again. The adjustment made, nicely done, 1st down. The reception by Lenny Willis. Anthony King had the coverage. And Randy, was that a sight adjustment by the quarterback and wide receiver on that?
No, I think it was just a good call from the huddle. Here you see Willis. He's going to fake to the outside and then come in underneath. And if you can get underneath the defensive back, then you open up that passing lane for the quarterback to get you the ball. Nice job. Nice move right off the snap. Nice job going down to catch the ball.
Well called offensive play by Ron Turner and company, and this drive continues for Illinois, their longest of the afternoon. Penn State leading 14-0. That's Willis in motion. Play action. Johnson throws it away. And wisely so. Scioli trailing the quarterback all the way, and everybody pretty well covered downfield.
Nice job, as you said, throwing that ball out of bounds and not taking the sack. And this is a very important drive that the Illini have going here. They needed to give their defense a rest. They were way backed up on their own end of the field, and they've been able to get some field position back in their favor.
Just over 4 minutes left to go here in this first half of play. Syracuse has rebounded to take the lead on Pittsburgh.
Boy, have they ever. 17-point rebound.
Well, you know, you got Donovan McNabb. You can score in a hurry. 2nd and 10. Here comes Avard, and here comes Arrington. Cut him off at the pass. Gain of 1. Amani Bell, the defensive tackle, was also there. Bell, number 57, a junior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was a projected starter earlier this year at the nose tackle spot that has been occupied as a starter by Bob Jones.
We saw teams that will bring a man in motion to cut off the penetration coming from the outside. This time, there's nobody there. Nobody blocks off Arrington, and he just comes through clean to make the hit.
3rd down and 9. Blitz coming again. Quick toss thrown behind the intended receiver, Rob Bajoy.
Well, that one was a side adjustment between the quarterback and the receivers. As you called, Penn State coming with the blitz. One man coming, too many to block. Johnson had to get rid of the ball. Just didn't throw a good pass that was in a catchable spot for Bajoy.
So on for the punt is Steve Fitz, as the Illinois drive ends at the 40-yard line of Penn State. Fitz hangs it high in the air. Branch makes the catch just across the 20-yard line near the 22. It'll be first down and 10 for Penn State from there.
Every year, millions of gallons of motor oil are poured down drains, dumped on the ground, and tossed into landfills. It's a crying shame for the environment and for everybody in it. That's why Advance Auto Parts provides free oil recycling at every store 7 days a week. Bring your used motor oil to Advance and make the future a cleaner, safer, happier place for all of us.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Oh. Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Are rich people taller than the rest of us? Are their loved ones more deserving of an airbag? Was the sun created solely for their enjoyment? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick, full of amenities for under $20,000, loaded for under $24,000. Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone.
Star Wars upon us on Halloween. Darth Vader, Princess Leia. Not sure who the guy in red is. Evan Thompson, diving attempt made by Caramelli. It is a reception up at the 25-yard line, gain of 3.
Nice catch by Caramelli and a nice throw by Thompson. There was a defender right in the passing lane. Thompson threw the ball to the outside. Caramelli, nice diving catch.
Caramelli may be the strongest of the Penn State Nittany Lions pound for pound. He was a state teenage powerlifting champion. Second down. Mitchell out to the 35-yard line, first down. Jim Barber?
Guys, one of the things we said we were tracking throughout this entire game were big plays, and Penn State has already had a couple of them so far. As a result, this one setting up the first scoring play in quarter number 1, and then once again long range on your ISO to Fields as well. Penn State now has 25 plays, 20 yards or more this year. That's why the Lions are winning, Wayne.
No question about that. Explosion helps when you're playing offense. First down, Thompson. Hit as he throws. Oh, nice play made by Mitchell in traffic. Young and Clark made the stop, but I'll tell you what, Kevin Thompson made the play with Robert Franklin in his face.
What a nice job by Thompson, standing in the pocket here and facing this pressure coming right up the middle by number 30, Robert Franklin. Throws a nice pass, and these are the kind of catches that Penn State needs to make. High in traffic, Brown goes up and hauls it down.
First down. Thompson over the top for Branch. Broken up, incomplete. Anthony Hurd had the coverage down the far sidelines. Branch, good speed. Coming into this season, had a strong spring game, a parade All-America a couple of years ago.
Well, for one of the few times, Hurd, the defensive back for the Illini, is staying toe-to-toe with Branch. And the ball thrown a little bit too far to the inside gave Hurd the better angle to knock that ball down. After Asim Plez has been beat a couple of times, we're seeing Anthony Hurd out there a little bit more often now.
Final 2 minutes, second quarter. Second and 10. Corey Jones, another burner. Corralled out of bounds inside Illinois territory. Bobby Jackson, the principal defender. Stay tuned for the National Car Rental Halftime Report with Mike Gleason. Minnesota, Michigan, Northwestern Michigan State, and all of the action of the top 25.
Well, important here that this defense for Illinois doesn't give up any more big plays and give Penn State an opportunity to get into the end zone. If they can keep them out of the end zone at least to a field goal attempt, that'll be a big benefit, maybe a boost for them going into halftime.
Third down. Thompson, the shovel. Here comes Mitchell. Cordell Mitchell, one man to beat. Bobby Jackson slowed him up. First down coming up for Penn State deep in the Illini territory. Jackson and Francis collaborate on the touchdown saving tackle of 36 yards.
What a nice job. This guy is going to come untouched and he's going to come outside. That's the key. Bring him to the outside so when you pitch the ball to your back, he runs right underneath him. There's nobody there. You let the guy that would block him go up the field, and then you just let your running back do what he does best, and that is run with the ball.
And the big hits keep coming for the Penn State Nittany Lion offense.
Well, we just talked about Illinois' defense trying to keep them out of that end zone. No more big plays. Make them use this last minute, 35 seconds, and bang, right away, Penn State does it again.
Tim Kish looking over that play card. This Illinois defense came in very well prepared today.
You know, Wayne, one of the big differences you see when you look at these two teams is you can only do so many things as a coach with the X's and O's. Sooner or later, you have to have players on your team make a play. And Penn State, especially defensively, but we've seen it here offensively with Fields and with Mitchell, the players for Penn State are making the plays, and the players for Illinois are not doing that.
First down coming up for the Nittany Lions. Coming up on 1:30 left to be played in this first half. 1:35 to be exact. 14-0 Penn State. And the Lions knocking on the door once again. Corey Jones in motion. Mitchell roped down from behind. Ramil Connor made the stop, a junior out of Oak Park, Illinois.
That's a tougher spot to have success running the ball against Illinois. They've tried to loosen them up with the passing game, and it's worked, and they've had some success running the ball to the outside with McCoo. But when you run it right at them, that's a little tougher chore.
2nd and 8. Thompson. Touchdown! Corey Jones. Kevin Thompson to the junior Corey Jones out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
One thing Fran Ganner told us yesterday, that Kevin Thompson does everything we ask him. He doesn't get us in bad situations. He's got excellent poise, and he executes the things that we ask him to do very, very well. Simple little sprint out, little play action in the backfield, and throws a perfect strike to Corey Jones.
Travis Forney's point after is right through the uprights. And Penn State, with 3 sustained touchdown drives in this first half, has assumed a 21-0 lead.
Well, you take a look at the body action here. This is a guy 6'5". He's off balance, going to his left, and he throws a perfect strike. And watch where this ball winds up on Jones. The outside shoulder right in the corner of the end zone. Perfectly executed pass and catch.
Next Saturday, ESPN Plus will be at Northwestern as the Wildcats take on the Purdue Boilermakers. The Boilermakers led by one of the most talked about quarterbacks in the nation, Drew Brees, Northwestern's key mark player. All-America candidate wide receiver Dwayne Bates. That's next Saturday's Big Ten matchup, Purdue at Northwestern, noon Eastern.
We'll have to ask Gary Barnett if there's any truth to the rumor he's going to start 11 defensive backs in that game.
I think you were the one who started that rumor.
He may do it by the end of the game. Maybe the only way to stop Drew Brees.
Travis Forney will kick it away, and again, twin safeties back deep for Illinois. 8-play, 78-yard drive by Penn State to take the 21-0 lead. Wheaton, Illinois native Steve Havard on the kickoff return out across the 25, and Illinois will have good field position to begin this drive compared to what they've had over the last couple of possessions. But there's a look at the scoring drive. 2 of the 3 touchdown drives here today, in keeping with Penn State's, I guess, tendency this year, under 3 minutes.
Well, their offense has taken a little criticism for maybe not being as explosive or as dominant as their defense has been this year. But as we've seen today, their offense has a lot of firepower.
And Fran Ganner, the offensive coordinator, said you could see during the off week that these kids came back this week and they looked like, as a football team, much quicker overall. Elmer Hickman running out of the shotgun to the 30-yard line out of gain of 4. Sometimes an off week at this juncture of the season, Randy, you're a little beat up, you're a little slow, a little tired, and you get an off week like that, and sometimes it really rejuvenates your football team. And that certainly looks like the case for Penn State.
You come back with fresh legs.
Hickman being featured on this drive as we wind down the first half. Final 30 seconds coming up. Hickman short of the first down there. Timeout taken by Illinois with half a minute to go.
I really like what I've seen with Elmer Hickman. He is a player that was banged up a little bit earlier. He's been an excellent practice player, and as he's gotten healthier, they've got him a little more involved. And I think they need to get that fullback position, Wayne, involved other than just as a blocker.
In the 1994 season, Penn State's quest for their first Big Ten championship at a trip to the Rose Bowl came to fruition with a thrilling 35-31 comeback victory over the Fighting Illini of Illinois, down 28-14 at the half. Kijana Carter scored on the Lions' first drive of the second half. Great cutback move by a great cutback runner, Kijana Carter, but Penn State never took the lead until 57 seconds remained in the game. Fullback Brian Milne's 2-yard run sealed the second half comeback. Penn State wins 35-31. The year the Nittany Lions went 12-0 and win the Rose Bowl. Back live, Johnson looking around, looking to make a play now, and throws it away just before being escorted to the chalk marks on the near side. Brad Scioli, who has spent much of the afternoon in the offensive backfield of the Illini, forced that play, and it's 4th down Illinois.
Well, when you're a quarterback and you look at one side, you see Brad Scioli, you look at the other side, you see Courtney Brown, you really feel you've got nowhere to run. Brown is the one from the left side that forces him right into Scioli's face, and Scioli is awfully quick, chases him out of bounds.
The punt by Fitz. There's a penalty marker down. This is Bruce Branch. And he is cartwheeled by Johnny Rogers across the 20-yard line. Again, a penalty marker thrown back near the 44-yard line of Penn State on the far side. So Jack Tights will collect the information and render a verdict.
Illegal participation.
Illegal participation against Penn State.
Be a 5-yard penalty.
Against the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Illinois in the final 13 seconds gets its offense back on the field, much to the chagrin of that man, Joe Paterno, in his 49th year on the staff here at Penn State.
Well, not as though Penn State was going to have very much time to do anything with 13 seconds, but with it being a first down, you give the Illinois offense a chance to come out here and maybe make something happen.
Kevin Johnson, the junior from Brentwood, Tennessee. Leaping grab. Are they going to rule a completion? Yes, they are. Fine catch made on the near sidelines by Larry Davis, and David Macklin forced him out. First down for Fighting Illini of Illinois.
What that does too, Wayne, is now they've got the ball with the first down on the 46-yard line. And though the first down may not be big with only 8 seconds to go, you've got a chance now to throw the ball into the end zone. And when you throw it into the end zone, you catch it for a score, or you get an interference call, which could give your field goal kicker maybe an opportunity.
A couple of good things can happen to you if you're an offense. Out of the shotgun. Blitz is on. Kirk Johnson had no time to look to the end zone. Justin Kirpakis, the defensive end, was all over him.
Well, that's one problem when you face this Penn State defense, is for your receivers to run 50 yards and get into the end zone. It takes time. You've got to have time for your quarterback to get set and let those receivers get down there. As you see, with that kind of pressure, that's never going to happen.
Oh, and did I fail to mention number 11? LeVar Harrington was also there.
I think that's just taken for granted.
Jerry Sandusky, the defensive coordinator of Penn State, wants a timeout here. And he just may not have had the personnel he needed into the ball game at the time. We are in one of the most beautiful settings for college football you'll ever see. Happy Valley at the foot of Mount Nittany, Beaver Stadium. And as you get a look at it, and it is just gorgeous. And take it right up there. Jeff Montoni, our director. To get there is Mount Nittany. And boy, I tell you what, that's why the aliens are here.
You know, we need to send Jim Barber. What is this guy? What's he supposed to be over here? We got an assignment for Jim.
Is that Jim in that red costume there? You know, he was trying his howling earlier when Mike Gleason tossed it to him. I don't know if he's changed uniforms or not.
Why is it the sideline guy has to do all the dirty work for you stars up there in the press box? That doesn't seem fair.
Jim, it's Mr. Stars to you, though. Okay?
Oh, Mr. Stars, yes.
Jim,
well, I couldn't get that limousine ride you guys had today, so I'm not feeling as good as you are.
We appreciate the fact that you are the ultimate thespian.
That I am, guys. That I am.
Believe me. 4 seconds to go. They'll never let him back into West Lafayette, will they?
Not if we have anything to do with it.
2nd and 10. Kirk Johnson looking downfield, and this one pop flies. Batted around like a volleyball, and unable to hang on to it is Larry Davis. So the first half comes to a close. Well, they do this on beaches in California in the summer. They do it on football fields in the Big Ten in the fall. And there's the last spike by James Boyd. And Larry Davis unable to come up with it. At halftime at Happy Valley, the Nittany Lions on top by 3 scores. And let's go to the studio and Mike Gleason.
All right.
All right, thanks very much, Mike Gleason, back at Penn State. Big plays in the first half certainly highlighted the effort by Penn State in this ball game here today. But I'll tell you something, their defense really came to the fore. And Randy, as you take a look at this game, we're seeing a complete effort here by Penn State.
This is what Penn State wanted. They had the off week last week. They worked on a lot of different things. They realized that the second half of their schedule is going to be much tougher than the first half, so they need to get all parts of their game going.
Take a look at the Phillips Petroleum first half highlights here this afternoon. Penn State Nittany Lions made 3 plays of 20 yards or more. This one 47 yards to Shawnee Fields early in the ball game on the first drive of the game for Penn State. Aaron Harris able to cap it with a 2-yard touchdown plunge, his 15th career touchdown. And then it was defense.
Well, defense has carried them all season, especially pressure on the quarterback. Mac Morrison getting 1 of the 3 sacks, and they've been in Kirk Johnson's face all day.
All right, it's 21-0 halftime. The Nittany Lions on the lead, and we'll be back with the second half after these words.
Have you seen it? The topic of every tree's whisper. The reason the stars twinkle. What every wing caresses. Look for it and you will fail to see it, even as it surrounds you. It's in our first breath, our last, and every breath in between. It is precious, this invisible thing called air, which is why we try, in little ways, to protect it. It's just something to think about the next time you need fuel.
Impatient with things that grow too slow? Try new Super 6 Lotto from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Outdoors, Super 6 makes everything grow faster. Super 6 works indoors, too, on any household object. With jackpots starting at $3 million and 2 drawings a week, Super 6 Lotto starts big and grows even bigger. So play new Super 6 Lotto and get not 1, not 2, but 3 plays for just $1. Sold only at Pennsylvania Lottery retailers.
Here's my idea. Best Buy should let people design their own computers.
Now that you've picked all the features you want, just hit send. This is Best Buy's new way to get you the computer you want.
Wow. Custom built just for me.
Exactly. Now let's go watch them build your computer.
I'm making a hard drive for Eric's computer. It's a 16.8 gigabyte. This is the motherboard. Here I have your DVD.
Are you pretty much a computer buff?
He's a gamer.
This is my dream computer.
Your PC, your way. At Best Buy. Now that's a great idea.
Back at Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania. Wayne Larrabee along with Randy Wright, Jim Barber, and the kickoff to start the second half by Neil Rackers. Eddie Drummond, look out! There is a penalty marker down way back at the Penn State 10-yard line. Eddie Drummond on a 53-yard return, a true freshman out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Like maybe a block in the back. It's an old culprit.
Boy, it generally is when you see a hole open up like that on a kickoff return.
In the back during the return on a receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That penalty has wiped out many a good return.
And maybe that's why there are so many good returns, is because of that. And here you see Drummond. Excellent speed. It's going to happen right around the 10-yard line. It's where the flag is thrown. And right there, maybe on McCoo, number 8. Just a little push in the back, but clearly hit him.
So instead of having it way out beyond the midfield marker or thereabouts, Penn State is backed up to its 5-yard line to start the first drive of the second half. Shelby Fields at the bottom of your screen. Ceramelli. He is tough to rope down, and Mike Ceramelli for about 13 yards out to the 19-yard line. Take a look at the numbers at halftime.
Boy, those passing yards, 191. They have really come out, wanted to work on that passing game, and they've done it very effectively.
And as expected, Illinois played the run tough. That's what Penn State expected, and they thought they'd have to loosen them up through the air, and they did a little more than that.
Time of possession in Illinois' favor, but that kind of goes with what Penn State's quick strike offense has done all season.
Ceramelli again. Danny Clark collaborating with Brandon Moore on the tackle. Jim Barber is down on the sidelines. Jim, how was Joe Paterno at halftime?
Well, he was okay, Wayne. I talked to him moments before the second half started. He liked the play of Kevin Thompson, threw a couple of nice balls, but there's some things he wants to see eliminated, including Penn State's substitution problems, which gave Illinois a first down in the first half. And also he wants the offense to crank things up a little bit here in the second half, Wayne.
We'll see. Second down. I believe the Illini got back. Broken up nicely by Gussick. Concho Brown, the intended receiver of the 33-yard line. I thought he had it, and Gussick almost took it right out of his breadbasket.
Exactly. It looked as though Gussick almost came away with that ball. Gussick starting his second game after missing 4 with an injury gives them some leadership in this defensive backfield. Nice throw by Thompson, but Gussick times it well and gets there right about the same time the ball does.
Well, that leaves third at about 5 yards to go for this Penn State offense.
But this team is so loaded at talent at the tight end position. There you see Concho Brown, the best of all of them.
Shelby Fields in motion. Danny Clark coming through on the blitz. Clark beat his man. He timed his blitz well. Thompson able to avoid Clark, but could not get by Jackson. And it is a fourth down for Penn State.
Boy, Aaron Harris does a nice job of coming up and trying to block from the fullback position right there. He's going to come up and try and get a piece of Danny Clark, and he gets him just a little bit. It gives Thompson enough time to at least step up, but can't get away from all of them. But that's so tough as a fullback, because first of all, you've got to get out of the way of your quarterback and then pick up the guy that's coming right where your quarterback was.
Pat Pigeon's punt, fielded by Rob Majoy. Out of bounds at the 44-yard line of Illinois, where the Fighting Illini will put it in play. First and 10, 43-yard punt, 11-yard return.
100,000 aluminum radiators will corrode and fail. But Prestone antifreeze bonds with aluminum, forming the Prestone zone of protection against corrosion. It's your car. Protect it in the Prestone zone.
I was looking for an onion, a really big onion, a blooming onion as big as your head. One bite of that onion and bam, you were hooked. I mean, you want to have more and more, and you think about it, you dream about them, you just got to have them. And you can't stop, and you go anywhere, no spices. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, I was consumed by that onion. And that onion was consumed by me.
It's easy to get a bloomin' onion. Get to Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
How's about a nice juicy steak to go with that bloomin' onion?
Steak? Hey, why didn't I think of that? I love steak. Big, juicy.
No words are ever exchanged. Just a chemical connection from afar.
zap, then poof, your destiny passes you by. How many times is she going to slip through your fingers? How many more chances are you going to get? This train is leaving the station, slugger. Are you on board? Or what? Every day's a test. Those who pass deserve a great beer. Sam Adams. It's what's inside.
You know, some people think the best thing about ESPN magazine is the writing. Other people say it's the great photography. And some people think it's the design. But if you ask me, the best thing about ESPN magazine is clearly the large format. These subscription cards, however, are driving me crazy.
When sports cream, when legs are sore, when backs ache, when muscles hurt. Wise Sports Cream, rubbing it in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell. Wise Sports Cream, because it works.
Wayne Larrabee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber, Beaver Stadium. Illinois' first offensive possession of the third quarter. A run by Steve Havard of about 3 yards. Courtney Brown, the defensive end. Mac Morrison, an outside linebacker, collaborate on the stop.
Well, Wayne, one of the things I see when I look at this Penn State defense is they've always been very quick and very disciplined. That's what Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky have had. But this year, the difference I see is they are big. You don't always see Penn State defenses that are big as well as quick.
Well, you're right. I mean, they don't get pushed around out there, do they?
Not at all.
Second down and about 7. Oh, they run the reverse. Well set up. Here comes Rocky Harvey. Penalty marker down. May be a hold on George McDonald Ashford near the 30-yard line of Penn State. Rocky Harvey motors for 32 yards on a well set up reverse. Holding against Illinois.
Boy, you're right. It is going to be on George McDonald Ashford, the wide receiver, trying to block downfield. But what a very well executed reverse. It fooled everybody in a blue shirt except the guy McDonald Ashford was blocking well downfield.
Take a look at it again from the top.
Well, take a look at all the blue jerseys coming down with the running back, and there's nobody out there. Harvey's wide open as fast as he is. You may want to just let your blocker go, and you can clearly see the hold on number 19, Anthony King. Take a look. We'll see the hold from this angle, and as King is trying to pull away, McDonald Ashford's got a hold of his jersey.
Looked like a good call.
Well, you see, Kirk Johnson knows the call, sees the flag, and knows what's coming.
They do get a first down anyway. Elmer Hickman for 5 tough yards down to the 35-yard line.
Well, when you can't outrun a fast defense like Penn State has, you try and use their speed against them. And the reverse is a very good call. Now they come back with the same look, only this time they give it to the fullback, Elmer Hickman, and he picks up 5 yards because you've slowed that speed down a little bit.
Now, Randy, they've invested some carries in Elmer Hickman. 10 carries, 41 yards now for the junior fullback from Alton, Illinois.
Well, they came into this game with only 7 carries, and I've been impressed with him so far.
Havard again running right at the Penn State defense. Gain of 4, 3rd and 1 coming up. Jim Barber, what did Ron Turner have to say at halftime?
Well, as you look at the Illinois bench, and not a happy bench for the first half, he was very disappointed with the penalties, Wayne. A couple of penalties allowed Penn State to get a first down and a big drive going in the first quarter. And on top of that, on top of the penalties were the big plays. Too many for Penn State, none for Illinois. Chaffee Fields right in the middle of a couple of them.
Thank you, Jim. 3rd and 1. Hickman. I don't think so. At that time, the Nittany Lions responded. Courtney Brown made the stop.
The official on the near side, the Illinois side here, has given a favorable mark, maybe more so than what the official on the other side was looking at, and it's going to be very close.
You're right. They did give him a favorable spot. And the chains come in from across the way. Oh my! They are a shoestring short.
Boy, that is awfully close. And down 21-0. I wouldn't be surprised Ron Turner goes for this here.
Well, why not? Absolutely. Jerry Sandusky's team will have to try to stand in and defend a matter of inches.
This is where, as you see, fourth down, not very good for Illinois. This is where the size of Penn State has helped them in their defensive line.
Nope. They went to Hickman, and Penn State, well-timed blitz. LeVar Arrington, the All-America candidate, came across.
Well, it was a great athletic play by LeVar Arrington. As you see, he times his blitz very well, leaves his feet, and hits Hickman in the backfield. But this is where your quarterback sees that coming and has to hold his cadence. He knows Arrington is coming. He's timed it up. If you hold your cadence a little bit, you get the offsides.
In that situation, quarterback sneak is safer play there, or?
Well, I think it's probably a safer play because you only need inches, but when you got Arrington flying in the air like that, he probably went right over the quarterback and landed right in Hickmer's lap.
First down, Penn State. Thompson over the top for Shawnee Fields. Well covered this time. Anthony Hurd and Mike Gussick. Stride for stride down the sidelines.
Boy, take another look at this play by LeVar Arrington. Maybe the best of all these Penn State linebackers and the fastest since Shane Conlon. Look, he's almost got the quarterback and Hickman in one grasp.
What did they do? Shoot him out of a cannon or something?
You think that's what a coach means when he says he wants his players to sell out?
I guess. Oh, my.
Just a sophomore, LeVar Arrington.
That's scary. 2nd and 10. A reverse to Branch. First down to the 44-yard line of Penn State. To the studio, Mike Gleason.
Well, Wayne, T. Martin of Tennessee says, hey, we're not all defense. T. Martin, 3 touchdowns. This one goes to Peerless Price. Martin started the game 16 of 16, 3 scoring strikes. That breaks a record by Peyton Manning. 21-0 Volunteers.
Looks like the Volunteers will maintain their perfect record in the Southeastern Conference Eastern standings.
Talk about another team that's doing it with defense. The Tennessee defense, outstanding.
Yeah, but T. Martin's completing about 65% of his throws, and that helps. That sustains a lot of drives. Blitz here by Illinois. Cordell Mitchell got what he could, about 2 yards to the 46. Robert Franklin and Brandon Moore on the stop. Brandon Moore is a true freshman, number 96 out of Gary, Indiana, West Side High School, and he was an offensive guard and defensive end in high school. He may be a good one for Ron Turner.
Well, needs to get a little bit heavier. He's only weighing about 260 pounds, but as he gets a little older and gets on the weight program in Turner's system, he'll get that weight and his strength up.
2nd down. Mitchell waiting for his blocking behind the block attempt by Kevin Fagan. Is spilled just short of the midfield marker, gain of a couple of more yards. Everhard on the stop for Illinois.
Wayne, we talked about LeVar Arrington only being a sophomore. Both these teams very young. In fact, you want to hear a real scary thing. This Penn State team only starts 5 seniors, and 42 of their 48 on their 2 deep, counting specialists, will be back next year.
2 years ago, they played 14 true freshmen. So they've invested, don't question it. They're going to be good next year again. They're good every year. Kevin Thompson. Jones on the reception, almost able to escape for a bigger play. Gussick made the stop along with Robert Franklin. First down, Penn State, gain of 11.
Boy, Kevin Thompson does a nice job of standing in here. Ramil O'Connor almost gets to him. John Blick, 78, doing a nice job of holding him off. Thompson sees it coming, stands in there, waits for his receiver, Corey Jones, to make the cut. Right there, he cuts, looks back, delivers the ball right on time.
First down at the Illini 40-yard line. Fields in motion. Play action. Thompson. Sam Crenshaw. Franklin makes the stop, another first down, gain of 13 yards.
Well, you can see Penn State starting to get into their rhythm. Their play action passing. The second quarter, they opened things up. They had some success running to the outside. They get Illinois spread out a little bit more, and then they hit them inside. Now that play action passing is working, and these receivers are running these defensive backs off and are just wide open.
Thompson, a junior from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Brzezinski, the man in motion. Blitz is coming. And so is Cordell Mitchell. Not a whole lot there that time. Got about 2 or 3 yards. Eric Garrett over to make the stop, a former fullback, now playing linebacker for the Illini.
Done a nice job. Michael Young has played ahead of Eric Garrett a lot this year, but Young has not made as many plays as Illinois would like. Eric Garrett comes in there, excellent athlete, sticks his head up there and makes a nice tackle.
2nd down and 8. Brzezinski, the man in motion. Drummond's at the top of your screen. Mitchell. Nice undercut move made by Mike Gusick on the play. Pickup of a couple of more yards, 2-3 more yards, and Penn State will face another 3rd down.
Boy, I'm really impressed with Kevin Thompson's ability to stand in the pocket. This time, Eric Garrett comes from his outside linebacker position, doesn't go for the play action fake at all. Gets a beeline right into Thompson, and Thompson stands in there again and delivers a nice pass. And one thing Frank Ganner told us about Kevin Thompson is he may not have the strongest arm, but the thing he does best is he gets past his mistakes. Something doesn't go well, he forgets it and gets on with it.
Penn State much improved in 3rd down situations today. Mitchell. Inside the 15 of Illinois for a 1st down. Blick and Brown collaborate on the blocks on the far side.
Boy, this is how you draw it up in the offensive line meeting room. The whole right side is just going to seal, and you look at the path that the back's got to run through. John Blick, Ryan Fagan, these guys just do a nice job giving corner.
Penn State has not been denied in the red zone today. Again, Brzezinski, the man in motion. Blitz coming. Mitchell coming. Inside the 10-yard line, down to the 8. Bobby Jackson made the stop. Gusick was also there. The safeties have been making a lot of tackles today, and that tells you that the people in the blue uniforms up front are getting the job done.
Well, you see 87 Brzezinski. You said he was in motion. He comes through. There's the hole that opens up perfectly. Brzezinski threw a nice block early downfield that keeps the defensive backs further in the secondary.
2nd down for Penn State inside the 10-yard line of Illinois. Mitchell's been a workhorse on this drive. Fred Wakefield makes the tackle and a loss of a yard or so.
Wayne, one thing that Penn State did in their off week last week was they were having trouble with some of the communication in their offensive line and the way they were coming off the ball. So they did what's called a half line drill. You only take your center and your left guard and your left tackle, and you go against half the defense and you focus on just those players. They got the communication going much better, and it's shown here today.
Rushing defense, 86 yards against Illinois today. Thompson going through the air. Mitchell unable to spin away. Well diagnosed by the Fighting Illini defense. Bobby Jackson at the root of the problem as far as Penn State is concerned, and Danny Clark was also there. Despite the score, Tim Kish's boys have held in there pretty well.
And we've seen them earlier, and they will play well the entire 60 minutes. Good coverage downfield forces Thompson to dump the ball off, but he was looking to the right for so long that drew the defense over there, and as he threw the ball to Mitchell late, too many white shirts around.
This will be about a 30-yard field goal attempt for Travis Forney. Hardly ever misses from this range. And this one, no exception. 5:10 to go, 3rd quarter. Penn State extends its advantage.
Since Dodge Caravan's easy out roller seats have wheels that pop down, reconfiguring the interior is an exercise in convenience. Not an exercise in exercise. Why don't all the other guys make it this easy? Go configure. Caravan, the new Dodge.
Smear tactics, slimy, repugnant, unjustifiable, attack dog. These are all things area newspapers have said about Mike Turzai and his campaign of lies and distortions against Ron Klink. The truth is, Ron Klink has lowered taxes on the middle class and voted against pay raises. Turzai, helicopters spying on opponents, camera crews hiding in dark alleys, dirty tricks, and false charges. Mike Turzai. If you can't trust what he says, how can you trust him with education, Social Security, and Medicare?
Just a reminder that with options like traction control, anti-lock brakes, and all-wheel drive, Dodge Caravan is good on ice, and snow, and slush, and rain, and mud, and dirt, and... Now get up to $1,000 cash allowance on Dodge Caravan.
Located on the steps of Old Main, the oldest building at the University Park campus, it's a large compass, and they stuck that thing right smack dab in the middle of the state, the geographic center of the state of Pennsylvania.
Right in the middle?
Smack dab there, right there in the middle.
I guess we'll take their word for it.
Guess so. We'll send Jim Barber over there to check it out. He's
another assignment for Jim.
Yeah, exactly. Rocky Harvey. Out to the 20-yard line. Nice move defensively made by Matt Joyner. So Illinois will try to get something going. Trailing 24-0. Just over 5 minutes to go in this third quarter on a gorgeous afternoon in central Pennsylvania. Michigan has caught Minnesota now. That's a tougher battle than many expect the Wolverines would have. Michigan State all over Northwestern. We'll see Northwestern next week. And Purdue will also see them. They're leading Iowa. Kirk Johnson started the ball game, and he's still in there at quarterback for Illinois. Nice release over the middle. Rob Joy draws a crowd at the 25-yard line on a gain of 5. Brandon Short was there, along with Derek Fox.
Nice job by Rob Joy finding the open area underneath the linebackers and sitting down, not running to cover yourself, staying in the open area, giving Johnson a spot to throw the ball. I wouldn't be surprised to see Illinois continue to do those kind of short passing routes. If they have trouble running the ball, they need to get the higher percentage throws.
Second down. Whitman, a tight end, in motion. Bavard ran successfully on the last Illinois drive. Didn't get much there. David Fleischauer on the stop, along with LeVar Arrington. Those are two players who have meant a lot to the improvement of the defense for Penn State this year. This is what they ranked last year. Now, take a look at what they do this year defensively. A whole lot of improvement.
Joe Paterno knew he needed to improve his defense before his team as a whole could make a run at the championship, and they certainly have.
Third down for Illinois. Third and about 3. Willis in motion. Johnson looking that way. Hickman makes the catch, unable to escape for a first down. David Macklin came up to support from his cornerback spot. Arrington also in the vicinity. Fourth down for Illinois.
You hear a lot about David Macklin as an excellent cover cornerback, but he does a nice job in the open field here on Hickman. And after the Ohio State-Penn State game, John Cooper went up to David Macklin, found him out on the field, searched him out, looked for him, and said, "You and my guy, Antoine Winfield, ought to be the All-American corners. You're the best 2 cornerbacks I've seen."
Well, I tell you, Randy, Macklin against David Boston, the All-America wide receiver for Ohio State, held him to 2 receptions, 37 insignificant yards in that game at Columbus a few weeks ago. Steve Fitz in punt formation. A rush on that time. Branch back deep. Nice move. Out across the 45 to the 46 of the Nittany Lions, where Penn State will put it in play once again.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Have you been there? Where water and time find their canvas? Where dreams and flowers bloom? where beyond each horizon lies another. The land offers an open, eternal invitation to roam, explore, wonder. There are amazing things here and there, which is why we try, in little ways, to protect it. Just something to think about the next time you need fuel.
There are a whole lot of cereals that don't have a whole lot of whole grain. Of these leading cereals, only one is made with 100% whole grain, only Wheaties. So only Wheaties gives you 100% whole grain nutrition. Maybe that's why only Wheaties has Tiger Woods.
Whole grain makes the difference.
And 100% whole grain makes it Wheaties.
Well, you know, we're a tight-knit group here, but who are these guys on the cameras?
Good help's hard to find, isn't it?
You know? Oh, my. Somebody asked me this morning if I was wearing a mask. Unfortunately, I'm not. Just looks like it. First down. Here's Kevin Thompson. Corey Jones has been sneaking open in that secondary on several occasions today with 4.45 speed. You can do that. That's his 5th catch of the afternoon, a first down at the 40-yard line of Illinois.
Well, when you don't have any pressure in your face, you see your receivers very clearly, and when they're open by that much, makes it a pretty safe throw, and Jones does a nice job. You know, Penn State had so much success getting behind the defensive backs early. Those guys are so far off of them now, the underneath throw's wide open.
Nice play fake by Thompson. Hey, he throws that ball pretty well on the move. Good catch by Corey Jones. Once again, Bobby Jackson the stop. Gain of about 12 yards on the play, maybe 13.
You know, Wayne, Joe Paterno is so loyal to some of his older players that sometimes quarterbacks don't play as early in their career. Here you see Jones just crossing the field, and Thompson again puts it right in his pocket. And when you don't play early as a quarterback, Kevin Thompson, a junior, takes him a while to get into his rhythm, and just now, the middle of his junior year, he's starting to feel comfortable there.
Nice catch. Shafi Fields, first down, 12-yard line of Illinois. Anthony Hurd forced him out. Mike Gleason, Kansas and Kansas State are battling for control of that state, and who's winning?
Well, Kansas State right now, Wayne, this is our GTE second half updates, and Kansas State goes up 20-6 after Frank Murphy goes in on 4th and goal, and they're almost at the half. It's 20-6. Kansas State looking for win number 8. Wayne?
Well, they are a juggernaut, aren't they? Here's a draw play to McCoo. Well, that play got stacked up at the line. Outstanding penetration on the front line made by Seth Tesdale. Jim Barber?
I would think, Wayne, that offensive coordinator Fran Gartner of Penn State pretty happy with the play of the Lions so far. He was a longtime coach here, as you know, and still is, and played back in the 60s for Joe Paterno. At one time wasn't happy here. Was going to transfer to Virginia. The coach talked him out of it. He went on to 2 undefeated Rose Bowl teams, or rather Orange Bowl teams. And by the way, he played ahead of Franco Harris. Franco never had much of a career here, did he?
Penalty markers all over this play before it gets started.
You know, I can understand why he would think of transferring if Franco Harris were the backup.
Fran was probably thinking he was going to be the next Wally Pipp. You know what I mean? Take a play off, Franco comes in, and you never get back in if you're Franny. Jack Tights winds the clock. The penalty against Penn State now makes it a second down and longer situation. Career high in yardage for Kevin Thompson, who has thrown the ball well here today, to say the least. Thompson on 2nd and long. Crenshaw got by Young. Nice move down the sidelines. Crenshaw still fighting inside the 10. Sam Crenshaw, a sophomore out of Youngstown, Ohio, without the veteran wide receiver Joe Nastasi in this wide receiving corps. It's a relatively young group in terms of experience.
What a nice move he puts on out here. Here you've got Young coming at him, the sideline right there to the right, but Young gets, Crenshaw gets by Young, stays in bounds, picks up another 5 or 6 yards.
I mean, Corey Jones is a junior, but he didn't play much previous to this year, but due to injury and academic problems. Branch is a redshirt freshman. Fields was a tailback in high school. Doesn't have a whole lot of wide receiving experience. But they're starting to come along. Oh, nice touch pass into the end zone. Nearly an over-the-shoulder catch by Aaron Harris, who had the coverage of Robert Franklin beaten into the corner.
That's such a timing pass that you have to throw the ball so early. Sometimes as a quarterback, you don't always know what angle your fullback or your running back is going to take. And that time just didn't put enough air underneath it. Harris showed a pretty good burst of speed right there. That's been the biggest knock, that since his injury, doesn't quite have that breakaway burst, but looked pretty quick that play.
That snapped a streak of 8 straight completions for Thompson, and it leaves Penn State in a field goal situation. This will be a 23-yard field goal attempt. Travis Forney. And he's got plenty of leg. Penn State has a 27-point lead with 41 seconds to go in the third. Coming up next week, we'll be back in Evanston, Illinois. The Purdue Boilermakers in that high wire passing attack led by Drew Brees against the Northwestern Wildcats, and you'll see one of the finest receivers in the country in Dwayne Bates. Noon Eastern time, Purdue Northwestern next week. Mike Gleason is standing by in Studio 66. Mike?
Well, that border war, it's West Virginia, Virginia Tech on the goal line, 4th and goal. Famous Amos is stopped by the Hokies. And Virginia Tech holding on to that 4-point lead. 7:25 to go in the third. It's 17-13 Hokies over the Mountaineers. Wayne?
I'd much rather see a battle over Virginia than a battle over Kansas anyway. Just me. But I think that Virginia battle is going to be a little closer.
Not planning any trips to the Midwest, I see, huh?
My wife Julie is a Kansas grad. 41 seconds to go, third period. There's Rocky Harvey. He's had a play or two here today, but not a lot of running out of the backfield. Good leverage into this kick, and Rocky is told to stay there with it by the upperclassman Steve Havard, and the freshman obliges. As a result, Illinois will start at its 20-yard line.
Rocky Harvey carried the bulk of the load for Illinois earlier in the season, but a true freshman, only 170 pounds, took a lot of hits early in the year and really has not had the same success or confidence since then.
We were talking about it last night. You know, I think you go back to that Northwestern game where Harvey touched the ball, what, we figured 50 times. This kid's, he's a true freshman. He's like 5'7", and 170 pounds, 5'9", and 170 pounds.
And I think he just got beat up.
Johnson, too tall for Terrence Smalls. Terrence is 5'7", but I think that would have been too tall for a 6'5" receiver.
I think you're right, and Smalls made a valiant effort to try and get up there and get it, but realizing it was too high, pulled his hands down right before the hit came, and it would have been a backbreaker.
Kirk Johnson played in the fourth quarter against Purdue, hit 7 of 12 passes, 75 yards, and a touchdown last week. Threw a TD to Rob Majoy in the game's final play. 2nd and 10. The fade route down the sidelines fades out of play. Terrence Small, again, the intended receiver. Terrence Smalls, and Bao Ju was there defensively along with Derek Fox.
Well, when you don't have confidence in your pass blocking ability, here we have an offsides flag that will go against Penn State, so it'll move the ball 5 yards further down and give Illinois the play over. When you don't have a lot of confidence,
side defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
In your ability to pass block, you have to go to the quick 3-step drops, and these defensive backs are so fast for Penn State that you can't get inside of them. You have to go to the low percentage fade route, and so far Illinois has not had any success hitting that.
Jerry Sandusky's defense has been rock solid. Illinois with a slot to the bottom of your screen. Johnson almost able to hook up with Lenny Willis, or I should say Larry Davis, on that play. And it will be a 3rd down coming up.
See a lot of new numbers in the Penn State secondary back there. Bao Ju and James Boyd, Tikas Pettigrew back there. So a lot of their second unit players getting a chance to play here in this third quarter.
Pettigrew was a wide receiver up until the fall drills when they shifted him over to the secondary.
Well, when you have such athletes that come to this school, that's why you see this team take Scioli from tight end to defensive end and wide receivers over to defensive backs. And you can do that with such great athletes.
3rd down. A twist and a turn and a first down, or so it appears. Rob Joy on the reception. Good effort, got the first down. Mac Morrison, Brandon Short collaborate on the stop. First down for Illinois.
Well, Illinois needs to get something going on offense just to get something into the end zone. They've only scored the one touchdown the last play of the game last week against Purdue. In their last 3 games, if you count this game, it's almost 3 games and 3 full quarters. They need to do something offensively to put the ball in the end zone.
Inside handoff, and inside were a couple of Nittany Lions. David Fleischauer and Courtney Brown team up on the stop. Well, the Penn State Nittany Lions head to the 4th quarter, leading 27-0. Arrington all over as he flies to the tackle.
Dodge Durango can tow up to 7,400 pounds, nearly half a ton more than its nearest competitor. That's 2 extra dirt bikes, 1 more great big water toy, or 1 more baby grand. Hey, my Durango tows more toys. Gonna lose his wimpy towing blues. Oh, yeah.
Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Out and out refreshment.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 16. Larry, our battery expert. Larry installs more Autocraft batteries in a day than most people do in a lifetime. No matter what you drive, Larry will make sure you get the right battery for your car.
92 Accord?
Yeah.
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
For decades, high school football has electrified Western Pennsylvania. And each autumn, Duquesne Light teams with area schools to help generate the kind of energy that ensures the tradition continues. To all the old rivalries, to all the new heroes.
Advance Auto Parts is proud to present Big Ten football. Today we're on the beautiful campus of Penn State University. Beaver Stadium, 96,508 in attendance here today on a gorgeous afternoon for football. Illinois second down as we begin the 4th quarter. Screen pass set up and nobody home. Arrington was coming hard. Mac Morrison also there, pressuring the quarterback Kirk Johnson. It is a 3rd down.
Boy, LeVar Arrington just does a great job of coming in here. He sees the back, trying to get a little chuck on him, throws him to the side, and gets so close into Kirk Johnson's face, he can't get the ball over him.
Here's a look at total yards, and what a dominant performance once again for the Penn State Nittany Lion defense. But look at that offense with 268 passing yards. Joe Paterno told us yesterday, he said, we're getting better. The last couple of weeks have been better. He was upset with some mistakes, but they certainly have been good here today. Oh, look at the all-out blitz. Courtney Brown, and Kirk Johnson never had a chance.
Courtney Brown does a little loop and comes through there. And when you bring your linebackers like Mac Morrison or Brandon Short, anybody else, that means you can't double team Brown. He slips through there. He's so quick. He gets there before the offensive line can make a switch.
Steve Fitz in punt formation. It's off a line drive kick. Bruce Branch. This is returnable. Bruce lost his footing on that one. To the 37-yard line of Penn State, where the Nittany Lions take over, leading 27-0.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Oh.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
When it has to be there fast. When it's your job, your reputation on the line. When it has to arrive at the precise day and hour, guaranteed. And when it's big, real big. Introducing Exact Express, the all-new expedited air and ground delivery option from Yellow Freight. For Exact Express, call 1-800-GO-YELLOW.
Your Toyota dealer invites you to a quality introduction. Come see the 99 4Runners with new styling, more safety features, and bigger savings. Now you can get a powerful V6 SR5 well-equipped for less than a 98. There's value package savings up to $900. Or lease your 4Runner now for only $298 a month. Your trade could cover the entire down payment. So see your Toyota dealer, where quality is our cornerstone.
Rashard Casey, a sophomore out of Hoboken, New Jersey, is the new quarterback for Penn State. Not a whole lot there for Omar Easy, a redshirt freshman out of Jamaica. Back to Mike Gleason. Mike.
All right, Wayne, West Virginia knocking on the Hokie door again. But again, they're stopped. Mark Bulger, chase from the pocket, looks to the back of the end zone. Watch this. Fires a little bit too late, and it's picked by Ike Charlton. And the Hokies, defensive stand again, 17-13, 3:34 to go in the third. Wayne?
It's a pretty good ball game brewing up there. Right here, Penn State in command. Rashard Casey to Mike Ceramelli. And I'll tell you what, Mike Gussick took him on near the midfield marker and on all he could handle. Ceramelli, as we mentioned, well compacted, 240 pounds on a 5'10" frame.
Well, here's Ceramelli. He does a nice job of coming up here and faking the blitz and then, or faking the block, and then just slips right underneath him, right into the open zone, into the flat. Sits down, catches the ball, and then turns up. And like all good fullbacks, boy, this guy runs north and south, doesn't he? He'll let those tailbacks try and make people miss. He's going to go right over you.
Casey going deep. Good adjustment made by Crenshaw, and the pass play broken up by Francis. Near the 15-yard line of Illinois.
Well, we saw earlier with Kevin Thompson throwing the ball deep to his wide receivers. He throws the ball high, lets the receivers run under it. This time, Crenshaw gets behind his defensive back, but the ball's thrown with too much of a line drive effort to it, and Tony Francis can come back. Casey realizes there, didn't quite throw a good enough ball.
2nd down and 10. Casey, a little play action, rushed hard by Fred Wakefield. Casey, a very good athlete, and almost completed that pass. Got a little too much air under that one. Intended on the near side, I believe, for Drummond. Rashard Casey played in a Delaware wing tee offense in high school. He's a great athlete, Randy. Runs a 4.5 40. But Fran Gander was telling us he came to Penn State wanting to play as a drop-back style passer.
And that's why he came here instead of some of the other schools that wanted to make him a different position or make him an option quarterback. Very good third down percentage for Penn State today. He wants to be the drop-back quarterback. He's also, we'll talk about after this play, had a couple of obstacles to overcome to get to this point.
3rd and 10. Casey in the pocket, able to escape, and it's broken up by Jackson. Intended for Brzezinski, Ryan Brzezinski.
One of the things Casey has done is this is where his athletic ability really helps him, his ability to escape. And then watch this bullet he throws right to Brzezinski. really hits him in the chest, and Bobby Jackson just gets the hand in there. But with Casey, he was redshirted 2 years ago. Last year, he was going to compete for the backup with Kevin Thompson, but he hurt his rotator cuff the second day of camp. Didn't really throw at all during camp. Wasn't into the rhythm until the middle of the season. By that late, it was too late. So he really just now has gotten into where he should have been last year.
Nice try to keep it in play by Ascari Adams, but Illinois will start its next drive out of the 20, trailing 27-0.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 6, Ed from Purchasing. At an early age, Ed gained an appreciation for low prices.
Yes, Edward. If you buy a whole lot of stuff, you can sell it for a whole lot less.
Good, Edward. Good.
High volume buying is how Ed keeps prices low for you.
No, that's zillion with a Z, not trillion with a T.
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Only a handful of people have climbed Everest without supplemental oxygen. You can be one of them. See Everest in its final days in the Omnimax Theater at Carnegie Science Center.
Look, Richie, all you gotta do is testify. And inside of a month, you'll have a new identity in a new state. What do you say? Huh?
Well, I get to choose my own electricity supplier.
Whoa, Richie, where do you think you're going? Pennsylvania?
Nearly 2 million people have enrolled to shop for an electricity supplier. Find out how you can too. Call 1-888-PUC-FACT.
If the altitude doesn't take your breath away, the cinematography will. See Everest in the Omnimax Theater at Carnegie Science Center before it leaves.
Ron Turner in his second season at Illinois, fighting Illini on the downside of a 27-0 story thus far. Kirk Johnson's gone all the way at quarterback, the junior, and it's first down to the 20-yard line. Rocky Harvey, I believe, the receiver on that play out on the flank of the offense. Take a look at turnarounds thus far. Ron Turner, 0-11 last year, has 2 wins this season, one of them in Big Ten play at Northwestern. So there's been a turnaround somewhat here at Illinois, though this is going to be a hard program to turn. Cam Cameron has made quite a impact down at Indiana, and Glenn Mason over at Minnesota with a big win last week at the expense of Michigan State. And right now they're battling Michigan pretty good, 10-10 at halftime. It'll be third down coming up on a gain of a couple of yards.
When you go back and you look at that graphic and you look at Ron Turner at Illinois and the points you made up, it's going to be a hard program to turn around. We've talked among ourselves, and I think the cupboard at Illinois was the most bare of all 4 of the programs that had new coaches last year. For Ron Turner to come in, especially offensively, Lou Tepper had recruited and focused mostly on the defense. Ron Turner's an offensive mind, and it's going to take him a little longer to get the people he needs for his offense in place.
Third down, here comes Savard. Got the first down. So the Illini run out of the shotgun. James Boyd makes the stop. Well, you know, Randy, Illinois coming into today's game had lost 19 of its last 21 Big Ten contests. Now that does date back to the Lou Tepper regime. And as you mentioned it, this is going to be a hard one to turn. There's no doubt about that. But this program also, the University of Illinois football program, has great potential. And once they do get it turned around, chances are this ship will sail in the right direction for a long time.
Well, I think they've got the right man to do it in Ron Turner. He's patient. He knows how to handle the young kids, and he's got an excellent background. I think he's the right guy.
On the reverse, here comes Terrence Smalls. Boy, they really sucked in the defense on this one. To the 45-yard line of Penn State. My goodness, Derek Fox finally recovered to make the stop. 23-yard gain. That's the second time they've worked a successful reverse.
Well, they're running the same plays inside, and when you do that, you can have success to the outside. They just, as you said, sucked in that entire speed that Penn State has, that entire defense, and it gave Smalls an open field.
Terrence Smalls out of Citrus Junior College. One of the 4 junior college receivers brought into the program this year by Ron Turner. Steve Havard, nothing fancy here. Back to Mike Gleason. What's going on at West Virginia and Virginia Tech?
Well, Wayne, of course, we saw West Virginia stop twice in the red zone, trailing 17-13, and here's the result of that. Hokies go for broke. Ricky Hall on the receiving end of this bomb, and he goes in untouched. And now Virginia Tech up 24-13. 1:10 to go in quarter number 3. Wayne?
That's impressive.
You get in those big games and you don't get many opportunities to score points. And we saw Virginia had a couple opportunities, came away empty. Virginia Tech takes advantage of it.
Made them pay, didn't it? 2nd and 9. Johnson under pressure. Unable to hang on, Larry Davis. Mark Kielmeyer able to shake loose, and I think he shook up the quarterback, Kirk Johnson.
Well, so often when you stand in the pocket and you take a hit, you know you're going to get hit. You throw the ball anyway. You expose those ribs in that midsection, and Mark Kielmeyer really unloaded right on Kirk Johnson's ribs.
Let's see if we can pick it up.
You take a look at it. This is pretty much what the quarterback sees. He knows it's coming. He goes ahead and throws the ball, and Kielmeyer puts his shoulder right into the right side of his ribs.
Johnson picked away. Tackled by Johnson. A tipped interception. Penn State takes over. Aaron Gatton, the linebacker, tipped that ball into the air, and Bao Ju able to intercept it. Ron Gleason, a brief conversation with his battle-weary quarterback as we head down the stretch of the 4th.
As a lad growing up in the Outback, golf legend Nigel Bridges showed little aptitude for sports. He wasn't very good at rugby or cricket, or so it seemed, at golf. But he tried and he tried and he tried and he tried and he tried. Until he got it right. You'll find the same dedication and commitment to perfection at Outback Steakhouse, where a great steak dinner is always just a short drive away. Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right.
Good shot!
Hello, welcome to Dodge Durango 101. Today, I'll be covering the 5.2 and 5.9 liter Magnum V8 vis-a-vis Durango's superiority in the class structure of domestic compact sport utility vehicles. You're not listening. You're just staring at the Durango, aren't you? Aren't you? Why do I even bother? I don't know. I'm just standing up here like a big doofus.
Have you seen it? The topic of every tree's whisper. The reason the stars twinkle. What every wing caresses. Look for it and you will fail to see it, even as it surrounds you. It's in our first breath, our last, and every breath in between. It is precious, this invisible thing called air, which is why we try in little ways to protect it. It's just something to think about the next time you need fuel.
Penn State leading 27-0, and the defense has just turned another turnover, another takeaway. 10 interceptions this season, the first for Bao Ju.
So often you see the interceptions go up when the sacks go up, and that's been the case for Penn State this year.
Omar Easy, and we mentioned him, he is listed out of Everett, Massachusetts, but this is a 6'1", 243-pound tailback. He grew up playing cricket and soccer as a kid, and he's out of Jamaica.
What a great story he is. He's huge, 243 pounds, and this is only his 3rd year of playing football. He didn't play his first year until he was in 11th grade, and they say he's got great potential. He just doesn't understand the game yet. They need to get him involved and bring him along slowly.
Casey on the move. Rashard Casey on a gain of about 4 yards to the 35-yard line. Jim Barber, what do you have for us?
Mentioning Easy is very popular among his teammates. Of course, as you mentioned, he hasn't played football very long in this country, but in his native land and his native tongue, well, he kind of got to Joe Paterno during one of the early camp practices. He was very tired. He couldn't get up from the field. Joe went over and said, "Hey, get up." He said, "Oh, come on, Mon. I'm tired. I got to sit down, Mon."
I don't know of anybody that calls Coach Paterno Mon.
Probably at first. Casey, lots of time. Everybody pretty well covered downfield. He did not have a workable option. And so Penn State faces 4th down.
Well, as all good programs, they have a way of taking athletes and turning them into superstars. And we did a game here 3, 4, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I think it was, where Jeff Nelson, the SID, Sports Information Director, came in and said, oh, by the way, we moved the linebacker over to running back, and he may carry the ball late in the game. And that running back turned out to be Curtis Enos.
Nobody knew how to pronounce his name that morning. By the afternoon, 140 yards later, everyone knew. Pat pigeon and punt formation. They're going to take a penalty here, right?
A little too close maybe to punt on the 35-yard line. Back it up a little bit. See if Illinois takes this penalty. Makes it a 40-yard punt.
Penn State's had 7 penalties against them here today.
Well, this one doesn't count.
No. This was intended.
This has got the asterisk, the Roger Maris asterisk this one has.
That's not going to hold the field of play. A little over 9 minutes left to go in this one. Penn State on its way.
They say for every boy and girl there's just one love in this whole world, and I know I found mine.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Mom? Dad? Home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Since Dodge Caravan's easy out roller seats have wheels that pop down, reconfiguring the interior is an exercise in convenience. Not an exercise in exercise. Why don't all the other guys make it this easy? Go configure. Caravan, the new Dodge.
At St. Francis Health System in Cranberry, we've been healing body, mind, and spirit through our quality outpatient medical center since 1984. You've come to know us for our emergency X-ray and lab work, heart care program, same-day surgery, cancer center, rehab, and primary care physicians. Now, we've expanded this care to include something new for Western Pennsylvania, a quality full-service hospital. St. Francis Hospital Cranberry, the healthy choice.
The Nittany Lion is making his way up the stands in most unconventional fashion.
I think he had Air Nikes on, too.
I think so. Steve Havard on a move up the middle. 27-0 Penn State over Illinois here. And around the country, Michigan just barely on top of Minnesota. Michigan State leading Northwestern big. We'll see the Wildcats next week. We'll also see the Boilermakers, who maintain a shutout of Iowa.
Boy, Iowa is going through some tough times right now, aren't they? They just can't overcome, like most teams, all the injuries that they've had.
They're also young at the skill spots, like so many of these Big Ten teams. Kirk Johnson, a lot of time here. Finally finds George McDonald Ashford. But it is a negligible gain.
Well, there's a familiar sight. Kirk Johnson picking himself up off this stadium floor has happened many times today.
You know, Randy, Kirk Kittner was supposed to get some reps in there today in this ballgame. I think that Ron Turner made a decision that when he saw the ferocity of this Penn State defense, to let his freshmen sit this one out.
Absolutely, and I don't think he's surprised by it. You take a look at this hit, and there's really just a nice throw here, and McDonald Ashford's got nowhere to go.
Third down, about 5. Penalty markers hold up the play.
I think Ron Turner feels very confident in Kirk Kittner. He's going to be the quarterback of the future.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offensive line, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
He wants to be very careful how he deals with the psychic and the confidence of that young quarterback. And I think, as you said, when he sees this team and it develops the way he thinks it's going to, he doesn't want to expose that young kid out there. He's already been shaken a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and Kirk Johnson, as a junior, maybe can handle it a little better.
Same with Rocky Harvey. He mentioned he noticed after the Ohio State game that Rocky Harvey wasn't hitting the hole with the kind of authority he was running with earlier. And so he's kind of spotted him a little bit here today. Elmer Hickman Fighting for a first down and turned back by Tikas Pettigrew. There is a flag down near the 20-yard line where that play turned the corner. Elmer Hickman has been featured more here today than he ever has in a game in his Illinois career. This penalty going against Illinois.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. The spot of the foul. Repeat third down.
And that's a 10-yarder.
Well, so often you get the speed on the defense and they get away from their blocks a little quicker and the offensive lineman just reaches out there and grabs them, especially late in the game, and that's what happened there. But you're right, Elmer Hickman has really been the go-to guy for this Illini team today, and I've been impressed with him. He hadn't had much of a workload coming into this game, but I think he's done rather well.
Penn State turned down that penalty and allowed the play to stand. It's fourth down, and that forces the punt by Illinois. Steve Fitz has been busy. Branch is going to let this one go. Doesn't have much of a tail on it, but it's pretty well covered by Johnny Rogers and is down to the 33-yard line of the Nittany Lions.
Dodge Durango can tow up to 7,400 pounds, nearly half a ton more than its nearest competitor. That's 2 extra dirt bikes, 1 more great big water toy, or 1 more baby grand. Hey, my Durango tows more toys. Gonna lose those wimpy towing blues. Oh, yeah.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 42. Jesse from Quality Control. Jesse travels the country. He spans the globe in search of the best quality parts for your car. Factory visits.
Alle Teile übertreffen die Spezifikationen des Herstellers.
Wunderbar. Product inspections on over 250,000 different parts and accessories.
Thank you.
No problem. Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Hello?
Steve Young?
Yeah.
Here's our new cellular offer, Mr. Young. Outside of long distance, weekday minutes are divided into
listen to this guy.
non-quasi-peak, semi-peak, non-semi-peak, pseudo-peak.
Cellular phone offers are not always clear, but ever since Sprint PCS built the only all-digital nationwide network, everything is clear, including the offer.
Hello?
Sprint PCS is now just a dime anytime, with free long distance.
That's good.
Mr. Young? Steve? As I said, weekday minutes are... Say, what's that smell? Anyway...
Now it's just a dime anytime, with free long distance.
Far sidelines next to the Penn State bench. Perhaps some of the candidates considering this fine university and program.
Possibly future Penn Staters.
First down for the Nittany Lions. Rashard Casey at quarterback. Brian Brzezinski in motion. And here comes the running back, Everly. Brian Everly, a senior from Beverly, New Jersey. Michael Young tracked him down. He rejoined the football team just late this fall and finally gets a crack. He had failed his conditioning test and had been injured, had an Achilles injury at the end of last year, and boy, he looks like he's 100% now.
Well, he's got fresh legs because he hasn't done much, as you said, but he failed his conditioning test, was suspended by Coach Paterno to where he couldn't even practice with the offense, had to run scout team, and he had the injury and has just now gotten back and getting his first crack at playing time with that carry.
R.J. Luke is in at fullback. Casey pumped once to the fullback in the short pattern and tried to go to Eddie Drummond on the far side, and it was knocked away. Anthony Hurd on the coverage. Mike Gleason, Michigan, Minnesota have been hotly contested. What's going on?
Well, Wayne, when in doubt, Lloyd Carr can always turn to that Michigan defense. Minnesota backed up. Billy Cockerham, the hero last week, is sacked for the safety. That made it 12-10, and the Wolverines have since added a field goal. And right now they have a 5-point lead over the Golden Gophers with 6:21 to go in the ball game. Wayne?
Mike, I tell you, nothing is coming easy for Michigan this year, you know?
No, that's a very good point. And they have to create their own plays, and more often than not, they're doing it just that way with their defense.
I believe there's going to be a procedure penalty coming up on Penn State. A lot of new people in the lineup for Penn State.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second out.
Well, if you go back to Chris Everly, just a example of what Coach Paterno does at his school. Here's a senior, a guy that really could have stepped into the starting role at the beginning of fall camp and wasn't in shape, and Joe Paterno thought nothing of it to suspend him until he passed the conditioning test, and that's how Cordell Mitchell and maybe even Eric McCoo have really emerged.
Second down off the penalty for Penn State, about 15 yards to go. Everly again. This time, Franklin catches him from behind, a gain of about a yard. Well, Penn State grinding it out here in the fourth quarter, leading 27-0.
You know, Wayne, in talking about Penn State, they've got some very tough games coming up. And one of the things that they're well aware of, Michigan next week, Wisconsin, Michigan State, much stronger, more physical teams than what they have faced earlier in this season. And that's going to be a tough challenge for them.
Luke in motion. Casey. Mike McGee arrives on the scene, and it's fourth down coming up for Penn State. Last year, Randy, Penn State finished the season losing to Michigan State 49-14, and then in the Citrus Bowl were spanked 21-6 by Florida. And thus, that spurred this program on. Over 90 players stayed back in State College to work out during the offseason, the largest such group in Penn State football history. And they've come up with a vengeance, and they want to finish this season in Penn State fashion. Their only loss so far was at #1 Ohio State.
And as you can see by that schedule, they play at Michigan and at Wisconsin. So their three toughest games all on the road this year.
And this one backs up for Penn State and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Fine punt by Pat Pigeon. Illinois will start deep in its own territory with 4:44 left to go on Halloween.
What makes an ordinary guy an extraordinary sportsman? The right gear, top-notch equipment, and a rock-solid understanding of what you're doing out there. That's why you need Outdoor Life, to guide you along every step of the way. For under $1 an issue, we'll prepare you to become the extraordinary sportsman you know you can be. As we reveal answers to the whats, whys, wheres, and how-tos of angling, so you can become the true fisherman you want to be. If hunting is your game, let Outdoor Life awaken your instincts for tracking whitetails, muleys, and elk. You'll even learn what it takes to nail that elusive tom. With Outdoor Life, you'll know what's new in gear and equipment, what's happening in your area, plus everything from the care of your rifle to choosing the right 4x4. Call now and you'll also get this rugged Outdoor Life gear bag, free with your paid subscription. Don't wait. Call now to take advantage of this great offer from Outdoor Life. Become an extraordinary sportsman. Call for Outdoor Life now.
Today's game is brought to you by GTE, the official telecommunications consultant for the NCAA and the Big Ten. Phillips 66, makers of super clean gasolines and Trop Arctic motor oil. The new Dodge, from cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. And by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Late afternoon sun setting beyond the grandstands here at Beaver Stadium. Late October sun and the shadows of the press box beginning to creep across the field. Kurt Kittner is on a quarterback for the first time today. Elmer Hickman, who has been featured, as we mentioned, got back to the line of scrimmage no farther. We thought they might hold out Kittner for all of today, but Ron Turner figures the last 4.5 minutes. Maybe that's an opportunity to get this freshman some time.
Well, it's a good opportunity to just get him some snaps. Let him get on this field. It's a field he's going to be playing on and against for his career. And to play here at Penn State, give him a few snaps, that's a good decision.
The freshman under pressure from Aaron Gatton. Another sack. Penn State came in second in the nation in sacks with 29. They have 4 here today. Last week, Randy, and this is amazing when you consider the quick step drops of the Purdue quarterback, Drew Brees, the 1- and 2-step drops. They had 6 sacks 2 weeks ago against Purdue.
And that is an amazing point. They held Purdue to minus 12 yards rushing for the entire game. No play over 19 yards and the 6 sacks in that offense. Purdue had come in with only 7 sacks all year, gave up 6 more to Penn State.
Jameel Cook, who started last week, gets his first carry of the day. Aaron Gatton on the stop, along with John Sandusky, who's the son of the defensive coordinator here at Penn State. And take a look at what they did to the Purdue offense, Randy. He comes in high-flying, and Penn State just basically snuffed him out.
Well, the points, the sacks allowed is the one that stands out. 1.2 a game over the 6 games. As we said, only 7 in the 6 games, and 6 of them last week.
This punt takes an Illinois hop, and it'll be down near the midfield marker, so Penn State will start right about the 50-yard line. 39-yard punt, no return. Defense has been the story of the game here at Beaver Stadium. The Penn State Nittany Lions, good pressure on the quarterback all day. First half, Mac Morrison arrives and knocks down Johnson. Arrington from behind. And take a look at this. Even Daniels, backup linebacker. And the relentless pressure on the quarterback. Penn State leading the Big Ten in sacks, and Johnson leaves the ball game with an ice pack on his shoulder.
Well, that's not from throwing 83 passes like a Drew Brees. That's from taking a lot of hits and being run into the turf.
That's from taking about 83 hits. What that's from. My goodness. R.J. Luke got the carry on that play. Chad Krell, a sophomore from Clearfield, Pennsylvania, comes on. His older brother Josh was a defensive back here at Penn State in the early 90s.
And R.J. Luke, a fullback from your neck of the woods that Illinois really wanted on their team this year.
I think R.J. is going to play tight end before his career is over here, but right now they've got him at fullback. Oh, nice, well-timed blitz on the play by Robert Franklin, sophomore, St. Louis, Missouri. He's done an outstanding job in defeat for Illinois.
Well, ever since he took over for Eric Gunther at that middle linebacker position, he has been, you don't want to say a pleasant surprise because it wasn't a shock, but he has been very, very good. Coach Turner and Tim Kish just couldn't be happier with his performance.
27-0, Penn State, under 2 minutes to go in the game. Tim Kish looking on from the sidelines, and as you mentioned earlier, you can only do so much with preparation and X's and O's. You've got to have the horses out there. Omar Easy. What a good support made that time by Ivan Benson, a safety out of Jefferson City, Missouri. Benson backs up Bobby Jackson, and he flowed to the ball like Bobby Jackson does on that play.
Boy, we talked about the young players on Penn State's team, and this Illinois defense, which has been their strength, pretty solid, especially against the run, only has 1 senior starter on it, Garrett Johnson, and there you see Ivan Benson, who will get some opportunities to continue playing as this season goes on, and he is a hitter. As you said, they come out of that secondary and they'll hit you.
10 Illini starting for the first time in their careers this season. Punt formation time. Boy, good leverage into this kick. Rob Majoy, he's a sneaky one back there. He makes it look like he's going to make the catch up at the 15, and that ball hits back near the 1-yard line and carries into the end zone, 47-yard punt. The Penn State Football Hall of Fame is located in the Greenberg Sports Complex on the campus. Displays memorabilia of Nittany Lion football teams, including the Heisman Trophy, and the game ball commemorating Penn State's 20-9 victory over Illinois 1959. The 2 teams' second ever meeting.
Boy, what a beautiful facility that is, too.
They got a new Hall of Fame going in. They're building a new one right behind it. Jameel Cook on the carry. Well, I'll tell you, Joe Paterno is the guy that they could name that Hall of Fame after here at State College. Look at these numbers. A couple of national titles, really should be 3. 5 unbeaten seasons, 18 bowl victories. He's the all-time leader in bowl victories. 303 wins and all those games coached.
The 300 win came earlier this year against Bowling Green, I believe.
Yeah, they sold the football in a fundraiser for $50,000. Can you believe that? A football from that game. For $50,000 that went toward the new paternal library being built on campus. Final seconds ticking away in this one. And I don't know if Illinois is going to get off another. Well, they wind the clock now. I don't know if Illinois is going to get another play. I don't think so. Penn State Nittany Lions in a workmanlike but very efficient performance here this afternoon. Yes, they did show us a little bit of flash with some big plays offensively here today. But the Outback Steakhouse outstanding back of the game is that man. Kevin Thompson, the quarterback, 19 completions, 268 yards, and a touchdown. And the outstanding sideline reporter of the game. Well, for us, Jim Barber's been down to the sidelines, and we may check in with him before too long. Player of the game. Let's give you the player of the game. The outstanding player of the game for Penn State Nittany Lions, that man. Number 2, Shafi Fields, the Dodge player of the game. 2 big receptions early in this contest, 101 yards, and they really set the tone. They were part of the flash that Penn State showed offensively here today. Now, let's get down to Jim Barber down with Joe Paterno. Jim?
All right, thank you, Wayne. Congratulations, Joe. You liked your first half and some of the balls that Kevin Thompson threw. Overall, what about the gameplay today?
We were sloppy most of the time. We didn't, defense got 1 turnover. Offense can't catch the ball consistently. Erratic pass patterns. I thought Illinois is a scrappy team, and they played us tough, but we got to play better than that.
Let's look ahead to Michigan and the rematch from last year. How difficult will it be to win up in Ann Arbor?
Depends how good we are.
Well, Wayne, that seems to be pretty candid, huh?
I guess so. That says it all. Depends on how good the Nittany Lions are next week on the road at Michigan.
It's good to hear a coach that can enjoy a victory and look at the bright side of things. It's talking about the things he thinks they need to work on. Never going to be complacent. And though he may have been a little more critical than what you would have expected, I think they did some awfully good things today, especially in their passing game.
Coming up next week, we will be in Evanston, Illinois, back at Northwestern, where the Wildcats will try to pull out a win over the Purdue Boilermakers. The Boilermakers and high-flying quarterback Drew Brees. That should be exciting. He spreads the ball around. And Dwayne Bates on the other side for Northwestern, one of the finest wide receivers in the country in his senior year with the Wildcats. We'll get a look at that at noon Eastern time. It has been a beautiful afternoon at the foot of Mount Nittany in the Happy Valley at Penn State. And coming up, the post-game report with Mike Gleason.
All right, a beautiful day in State College.